So hi, Kevin Proteau here with Locals Supporting Locals and another special segment of the Heartbeat of the Okanagan. We're at the All Candidates Forum for City Council for 2018 here. We're at the beautiful Lakeside resort here. Beautiful view, and it's just starting to pack the house now, and now we're getting asked to be seated here. So looking forward to this. I gotta say I'm nervous, but again, just want to say if you got everybody's got their pre-votes, so you know 3 people you're voting for, but you got 6 votes. So that's $6. Tick Kevin Proteau, and I will be your watchdog for City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Has anybody been here all 3 nights? Put your hands up. Well, you are troopers. Okay, I'll see if I can get you a parrot gift certificate afterward. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your support. We have 450 chairs on the floor, and they're almost all full. So, wow. So we do have a lot of interest in this municipal election. Thank you for again supporting our candidate forums. We have 932 candidates to get through tonight. But realistically, we have 23 of the 24 candidates that joined us tonight. It's going to be a long evening. I'm going to try and get us in by 9:30. Last 2 nights we hit our 2-hour limit. Unfortunately, with the number of candidates, we're not going to be able to hear as much from them as you'd like. But by all means, please stick around afterward and get to know them because they will be here. We don't have a curfew on the room. Thank you again to our sponsors, the Penticton Herald, the South Okanagan Real Estate Board, and the Penticton Lakeside Resort. If you haven't been up here before, they've just done a phenomenal job of renovating this and investing in our community. So thank you to the Lakeside for hosting this again for about the 11th time since 2009. Thank you. This is going live, so hello to all our listeners on the internet on peachcityradio.org. And we have Craig Henderson and Dave Del Rizzo here. So again, welcome to those listening at home. And for those of you who would like to hear the meeting again, or who would also know somebody that was able to join us tonight, by all means, it will be posted early next week, if not tomorrow. Our mayoral forum from last night is already up, www.peachcityradio.org. The only disclosure we have to make is that the Real Estate Board sponsored our sound for this evening, our sound technician, Kyle Anderson, from Just Call Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. And to avoid any conflict of interest, the Real Estate Board is simply providing financial support as they have for our provincial and federal election forums, and they have not been involved in selecting the format for tonight, nor do they have any questions that could potentially come from the floor. So thank you. So let's get started. Peach City Radio, can you draw one name at random for our opening remarks? Each candidate has 60 seconds. A reminder to the candidate, we will give you a courtesy bell at 45 seconds, and at 60 seconds we will cut you off. Please come up to the lectern. Joe, we will bring you a mic, of course. And who is the first name?
Connie Selmark.
Connie Selmark, you're first. So speaking first, come on up. Connie Selmark.
I've been a resident here for 15 years. I have 3 grown children that graduated from Penn High. My daughter and I graduated from the local college. I was in the first cohort for the Sustainable Construction Management Technologies here. It's an excellent green building program, which I'd like to see implemented here. I also am your Vice Chair on your Affordable Community Task Force and Vice Chair for the Transportation Safety Task Force in the city, along with volunteering and other events as well that come up. Now, I'm running pretty much for the same reason that I ran in the provincial election for the Greens, is that we have a huge amount of potential here. We need a bold vision to get on top of it as our workforce is changing. We have the schools for training. We have a lot of the technology sector here. We are seeing a boom in it, so
45 seconds.
Okay, good. And we have excellent partnerships that we can take advantage of to have a healthy housing, healthy community. And I feel that I have the vision to take us there. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Speaking second by random draw is Judy Sentes.
Thank
Good evening. What I bring to this councillor's role is commitment, experience, and dedication. I've raised 3 children and have 5 grandchildren and have lived in Penticton for 3 years. Pardon me, for over 30 years. I have been an elementary school teacher, a business partner in the auto industry, and led the Child Development Center for over 2 decades. My experience includes being a school board trustee and a chairwoman, a leader for the Chamber of Commerce, Penticton Art Gallery, and Ironman Canada. I represent the city on many committees for arts and culture, healthcare, heritage, museum, affordable housing, downtown safety strategy, seniors wellness, parks and recreation, children's issues, the official community plan, and I'm an advocate for sports. As a councillor, I will continue to prioritize public safety, homelessness, and accessible and sustainable healthcare. I encourage everyone to vote on October 20th and hope you will consider choosing a balanced council. Our community can benefit from new ideas and diverse experience, and at the same time, I believe that continuity in municipal governance is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sentes. Speaking third by random draw is Campbell Watt.
Thank you for being here, Ray. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Campbell Watt, and I've been on City Council for the last 4 years. I hope tonight I can demonstrate to you that I have been and can be an effective City Councillor, and that I can build on my experience to provide a strong future for the citizens of Penticton. I don't want to dwell on the past, but I feel it's important to address the Scott Hall Park issue. I have said openly that a mistake was made. I am the only councillor to ask for and vote for the project to be stopped and brought back to City Council for reconsideration. After hearing last night's topics, I feel it's also important to address dental and medical benefits, at which I was the only councillor to vote no at getting benefits at every percentage level and did not take them. The points I'm trying to make here are the fact that I will stand up for what I believe and that I do listen to the citizens of Penticton. I feel my experience will help this city move forward, incorporating the current momentum that we have that is building, and it includes engagement, record levels of development, and instigating a crucial and overdue review of our OCP. Thank you for that.
Okay, Becky and Julius, if you can get in line behind. Our next speaker is John Archer.
Thank you for attending tonight. My name is John Archer, and I am a retired businessman and an active volunteer in your community. My life has brought me many successes, and as a result of attaining those successes, I feel I have acquired the skills necessary to be your voice on council and a leader in this fine community. I believe City Council works well when they communicate clearly, effectively, and respectfully, and work together as a team. I will do my best to cooperate fully with all council members and the mayor and the city staff to make decisions we need to make and to always communicate with you. I will not make promises I cannot keep. I will show up at all council meetings prepared, and I will take all the diverse ideas and needs into consideration in order to better work with the team that you elect. I have the desire, time, and energy to work hard for you and to build trusting relationships throughout City Hall in order to make sustainable and informed decisions that will affect us all now and in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as we sit down, if you can just tap the one person, we'll just form a line here. So great. Speaking next by random draw alphabetically is Dusty Baker.
My name is Duffy Baker, actually. I'm a young entrepreneur. I employ 16 people. I build homes here in the Okanagan Valley in Penticton. I was born in Ontario, but I've lived here and called Penticton my home for the past 12 years. I now myself have a family that lives here, and we intend on staying here because Penticton is a place to stay forever.
But in doing so, we do need to make change in this city. There are three types of people in this city. There are people who make action, there are people who watch action, and there are people who wonder what's going on with the action. And I'll let you know right now that I'm someone that takes action. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I went to high school with a guy called Dusty Baker, so I do apologize for supporting him. So it's Duffy Baker, everyone. Okay, speaking next alphabetically of my random draw is Mr. Julius Bloomfield.
Hello everybody, and thank you for coming out. My name is Julius Bloomfield, and I am asking for your vote for council. Council is about making informed, thoughtful, and practical decisions that will benefit the community as a whole. I believe I have 3 qualifications for this task. I've been a realtor in this city for 26 years, and I know the strengths and concerns of the business community here. And yet I was brought up in a family of social workers and childcare professionals, and I have seen the devastating effects of poverty and addiction on family life. And third, as many of you know, I have a strong interest in sustaining our environment and protecting the natural resources. These 3 qualifications will help me make those important decisions that will benefit this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bloomfield. Speaking now is Ms. Karen Brownlee.
Thank you. I'm Karen Brownlee. My family and I moved here from the prairies 30 years ago. 25 years ago, I started my own lawn care and landscaping business as a single female owner-operator. 10 years ago, I started the Ladies Female magazine for women 50 plus, which went global after 3 years. I'm still highly successful with my lawn care. The magazine did get closed down after 10 years this summer owing to time constraints. I am a very strong people person. I'm going to stand on my tiptoes. I'm passionate about our city, as you can see. I want to have the voice given back to you. That this belongs to you, it belongs to me, to make our city balanced and healthy, better balanced and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brownlee. Speaking next alphabetically by random draw is Mr. Glenn Clark.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. I've lived and worked in Penticton for 27 years at the Penticton Art Gallery. And I can tell you, you told me in our side, I really know what's going on around here. This is my second campaign for council. I ran in 08, and right now I'm dusting off my old signs. I'm trying to run a really low budget campaign. It's going to be a lot of work also, depending on you for that, I guess, a little bit. Is it fair to say that our previous city councils have been underperforming? I'd say yes. I mean, we got some of the highest maybe the highest taxes in BC. It's incredible. It's like, where's this money going? So we need different, stronger leadership. We need to build things. We need better paying jobs. We need better industry. We need youth things to do for them. We need opportunities for these kids. And I think it's time to get more balance. Do we need more hockey arenas? I'm a hockey player. We need the Performing Arts Center. We're going to, get the industry to come and look at our town, do the best. So anyways, pretty soon, you can see an old hockey player take some hardball pitches. Thank you.
Thank you to Glenn Clark. And speaking next by random draw is Mr. Darrell Clark.
My name is Darrell Clark, and I've lived in this town since 1990. I've lived here, I've worked here, and I've played here. Right now, Penticton is at a juncture. We have the OCP coming due, we have the new master parks plan, and what do we need to do with that? We need to listen to you people, we need to refine it, and we need to put it in play. But what we don't need to do is we don't need to make exceptions to the new OCP. We need to set a direction that we can all follow and we can all live with. And in doing that, we need to bring in groups like the arts groups. We need to bring in other people. We need to bring in a more diverse group of people to help with industries and jobs. Glenn talked about bringing industry and jobs, and that's a huge issue in this town. We don't have year-round employment. We have gone the route of tourism, and that's a wonderful thing for Penticton. And we need to develop more with cultural tourism through the arts and culture. But we also need to work with our industrial area that's losing out because of transportation routes and things like that. It's a tough place to produce in Penticton, and it's a tough place to live year-round. But we all have a desire, we all have a need to live here, and it's going to be good to work with all of you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Christopher Evison.
Hi, I'm 20 years old. I got my start with the Royal Canadian Air Cadet program at 12 years old. There I taught myself to learn the principles of discipline, leadership, and teamwork. Since joining cadets, I've been the leader of many exercises that included cadets all the way from southern Okanagan to northern BC and Chetwynd and Fort St. John. By the age of 17, I was the squadron commander of the Gold Coast Squadron in Prince George, and I've been all around the country to multiple summer camps, learning to be a good citizen as well as learning how to be a good instructor. Outside of cadets, I've been a wildfire fighter for the BC Wildfire Service, one of 2 logistical coordinators for Rural Electric at the 8-story Penticton Regional Hospital Tower, and I'm now working at the Penticton Airport expansion as a second-year electrical apprentice.
Okay, I'm going to come down here and please welcome. Are you sure? Okay. All right. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Joe Rockledge.
Well, I got an issue right now. I can't get up on that podium. There's something I believe a lot in is the ability here to help people that are in need, wheelchairs, you name it. But a little bit about myself quickly. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, a place called Bonas, raised. We used to come out here constantly at the age of 6. I love this place with my heart. Opened up a mobility place, doing well, and helping a lot of people in the community. And I mean, what a great place to live. And what I say is from my heart. I don't have to turn around big papers, whatever. We've got a lot ahead of us. But there's plans that are in set. I don't know if any of the people know. We have a $40 billion deal from the federal government, and nobody from Penticton has used it. Thanks, guys. That's all I can say for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rockledge. Our next speaker with his welcoming remarks are Isaac Gilbert.
Thank you, James, and everyone for being here tonight. I have lived in Penticton for 2 years, and I am up to the task of being a counselor. Now, 2 years doesn't seem that long, but for me, it feels like 10. Because I challenge myself to be a part of this community and find my place to fit. I joined, created, attempted, and supported groups, societies, organizations, and friends. And I believe I will be an integral part of the fabric of Penticton on City Council. Because I thrive when I am in the environment to support and work with people and the community. Through my life as a park ranger, an executive member of Toastmasters Club, and volunteering, I have honed my communication, moderation, and planning. And I hold myself to my principles, to be accountable to myself, to others, hold other people to account, and on council I will hold myself to account with the vision statement. I will do my best to be well-informed, keep an open mind, and listen to staff, citizens, and globally at other cities and the problems that they deal with. And I want to build a long-lasting relationship with the community, built on respect, trust, and courage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Our speaker is Lynn Kelsey.
Thank you, James. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being here this evening. I am Lynn Kelsey, and I'm running for Penticton City Council. I've lived here in Penticton since 1994. For the past 7 years, I've attended the majority of council meetings, and in the last 4, I've only missed 2. I am currently the vice chair, the vice chair of the official community plan task force. I'm a strong advocate, as I've demonstrated over the past 4 years at council meetings. I've challenged the current mayor and council on many issues. So much so that the mayor phoned me at home in an attempt to gag me. He said he didn't mean to poke the bear, and he shouldn't have poked this bear. You, the citizens and taxpayers of Penticton, are fed up with irresponsible choices and priorities that this council has set for your tax dollar. This needs to change. I offer you my ear, which means I will listen. I have been your voice at City Council for the past 4 years. I will continue to be the voice for change that works for the people of Penticton. On October 20th, please vote Lynn Kelsey, your voice for Penticton City Council.
Hi, good evening everyone. Fellow candidates, I've been a resident of Penticton for 52 years. I've served 4 years as a councillor and I've served 9 years as your mayor. If elected, I will bring my experience and my common sense to council. The outgoing council has made some costly decisions. The attempt to lease 1/3 of Scahaw Park for 39 years, the relocation of the casino to the South Okanagan Event Centre, the road to nowhere in Joybo Park costing over $500,000. At a time when the economy was strong, the council introduced economic investment zones, which gave a 10-year tax exemption to the new buildings. A loss of infrastructure revenue as a result of that decision of over $3 million, which would have paid for the new infrastructure to support those buildings. I have demonstrated a passion for the city over my letters to the editor. If elected, I will bring a strong voice to the council. I will focus on city budgets on infrastructure. I will support to bring property taxes between residential and businesses more in line with the other cities. I will ask council to negotiate an annual lump sum fee from the regional district for recreation services. For experience and common sense, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a minor tech problem, so he wasn't properly introduced. That was Jake Kimberly. So thank you, Mr. Jake Kimberly. Our next speaker is Mr. Jesse Martin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, listeners on Peach City Radio. My name is Jesse Martin. For the past 7 years, I've been a teacher at Okanagan Cultural School at the Penticton Indian Band. As a teacher, I understand the importance of accountability and transparency. I always believed in having an open door policy for my classroom and encouraged parents to come in and join whenever they were available, and also to discuss any problems they had with me personally. I understand the challenges youth and families face today, and will always advocate for them. Working with the Penticton Indian Band, I understand the value of partnership and working together with our neighbors on the other side of the river. I believe we need to take more of an initiative and keep them in the conversation. I believe in an inclusive community for everybody, where we can all work together and make a better future and quality of life for everyone. That's all I have to say.
All right, tonight it's like reach for the top. We have 2 tiers here. I'm not sure what team would win, but I suppose the upper tier has a slight advantage because you can see them better, but these people down here are at the start of the alphabet on the ballot, which is an advantage. So we thought we would give a break to the people later in the alphabet. So up to the top tier now, and our next candidate to speak for 60 seconds, Mr. Doug Maxwell.
Good evening. Thanks for coming up. Thanks to the organizers, the sponsors of this event. My name is Doug Maxwell. I've been in Penticton for 23 plus years. I live in downtown. I'm told that 25 years is the limit for being called a local. So I'm not quite there. I'm a retired, successful small business owner who now regularly attends city council meetings. With my one vote on council, I will vote for growth that is slow, steady, and sensible. Keep Penticton livable. Downtown densification instead of development up in the hills. Developers who follow our building bylaws and OCP directions. Timely and organized replacement of underground, overhead, and surface assets. Bylaw enforcement, including our good neighbor bylaws. Getting the RDOs involved financially in all major and projects used by the greater community. Selling Penticton to new potential industrial business without giving away the farm. Spending money on solutions to homelessness, not just moving the problem up and down the creek. If you share my direction, please vote for me on October 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, David and Max, if you can form the line. That was Doug Maxwell, and speaking next is Mr. Christopher Milne.
For 4 years, 6 days a week, 9 hours a day, I have listened to you and I have heard you. I know you are worried about crime, about affordability, about changing climate, and a government that doesn't seem to care about what you really think. I hear you, and I promise I will engage you with every decision I make. I will think rationally and fuel my decisions with research and logic. What I will focus on in the outset is putting friendly back into small business friendly Penticton. First impressions, it is a small business that creates the aesthetic of Penticton. But once we arrive, we experience mistruths, lackluster communication, passing the buck, and very little desire to be held on to. I will work to gain the same respect, the same incentives big business is granted. I will work with building owners to get empty storefronts filled, in turn bringing more jobs to this city. I moved here 4 years ago, having never been here before. I thought I moved to paradise. I know that paradise still exists. Just look out that window. And I am going to work my hardest to get that paradise back. Thank you very much. Christopher Milne.
All right, speaking next is Mr. David O'Brien.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David O'Brien. Well, look at this turnout. This is what makes Penticton great. This is why I love this community. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't on my bucket list to be a politician. I kind of cringe at the word politician. And I think you know why. What I prefer is a public servant. Someone who listens, does more than listening, actually represents not his own interests, not his affiliates, but what you, the citizens of Penticton, ask for. That's when I will make a difference. I'm going to keep this brief. I look forward to telling you my platform. Have a good evening, everyone.
David O'Brien. Speaking next is Max Penticton.
Hi everyone. 4 years ago I ran on the platform of United Penticton. This was based on the silos which I saw Penticton operating in, and I made a goal to help break those silos down. To that end, I chaired the Tourism Development Task Force with the mandate of reuniting the PHA and Penticton tourism. Through a ton of hard work on both sides, we accomplished that goal in just over a year. We've since implemented the South Okanagan Shared Services Agreement, enabling resources to be leveraged across our region. And our ECDEV department now uses key performance indicators featuring collaboration as a measurable area to determine success. Penticton is working far more collaboratively than it was 4 years ago. While we've accomplished plenty of positive, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that we've had difficulties. The key, though, is that we've used these difficulties as learning experiences and strengthened our community as a result. We now have the most robust engagement strategies in the province, and we have a Parks and Rec master plan built by community members as a direct result. I believe I have a proven record of success, and I look forward to continuing my work on behalf of the citizens of Penticton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Penticton. Our next speaker is Marie Pryor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Karen. My bio you can find on Facebook, and I have rat cards in the back, so I am doing something completely different. Here's a few of my ideas. Housing. Do we really want 6-story buildings shoved down our throats in this community? We should not ban carriage houses in any neighborhood, which is happening right now at City Hall. If that is a conflict for any county council, they should recuse themselves. We need to hold the provincial government accountable for the homeless housing projects going in. I heard nothing about security. Did you? This council should have demanded adequate security needed at that location to safeguard our communities. Why is there no mental health or drug counselling to break the cycle? We should not just warehousing and putting them at risk without proper programs to assist recoveries. Taxes. Penticton is one of the highest taxes in the area. What can we do? First, I will push forward to redirect the hotel tax out of the tourism to lower taxes. RDOS.
Thank you, Ms. Clara. Speaking next is Mr. Kevin Proteau.
Okay, so I'm Kevin Proteau. I'm best known for publishing the locals, supporting locals yearly calendar. Real Living with Real Food that promotes strictly local farmers and local businesses. I also started my own alternative media, Local Supporting Locals. We are filming this tonight, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kevin Proteau, and stay up to date with all the election issues and other issues. I've been an outspoken activist and concerned citizen in a few areas. Just to name a few, I've organized the local marches against Monsanto for the past 3 years, held public forum on the health and safety of AMR smart meters, and was instrumental in obtaining the first smart meter opt-out program in Canada. I helped the city and council speak to the fire for 2 elections in a row demanding vote counts. I have fought to save historic use of 3 Mile Nature Beach. And now a very serious concern of mine now is the installation of micro cell towers all throughout Penticton, every second to 10th house. You can pick this up. We have a public forum October 10th. Let's see, get really fast. So hi, Kevin Proteau here. I am editing in. I'm not editing anything out. I just felt that I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say. I didn't realize how fast a minute went. And so I was just or I just finished talking about the 5G, and what that is the installation of micro cell towers every 800 feet, every second to 10th house. This will happen all throughout Penticton here. Okay, it's happening in all the cities across Canada, the bigger cities, and US, UK, it's happening around the world. So it's very concerning here. And so we have a public forum scheduled on October 10th at 7 p.m. Okay, October 10th, 7 p.m. at the Cleveland Theater, where the community center is, training convention center is, in that parking lot there. So come on down. It's going to be very, very informative. We have Dr. Magda Havis, which has peer-reviewed science on this. Even though your TELUS bill does say 5G on it, it's not the same 5G. Okay, so currently they've already installed 4G, and apparently that is 5G ready. So TELUS says they're not installing them. I gotta be honest with you, but my trust in the telecom industry is not very high. So come out to the forum, and if they're not going to install them, then we shouldn't have a problem. Get a moratorium on them and make sure that it doesn't get through, right? So I just wanted to finish because you'll see throughout this event here, you don't really get to find out too much about the candidates. It was very antagonistic, very much on the attack. So you'll see. Anyway, so I wanted to say that I want to be your watchdog. If you listen to my activism, that's what I was leading up to. So in order to make this happen, we need to drain City Hall. That's what I want to do. And what I mean by that is, because I don't mean anybody, this is not personal towards anybody, but I want to get rid of bench warmers. We want to use this as a stepping stone for higher politics and bigger profiles and support a corporate agenda. It's time to clean up City Hall's bad reputation for not hearing and listening to its citizens. City Hall that is equally supports all local businesses, new and old. No more double standards. It seems that if you know the right people, laws don't apply to you. We need to go to the province to go after them for the hugely inflated housing prices here, because it makes buying a house and renting unaffordable. So that's happening right across Canada. It's not just here. So it's not like everybody wants to move here and the prices went up. It's everywhere. So it's the provinces that are causing that in the federal. So we got to go after them. There's things that we can do to help each other here, but if we don't address where the real source of the problem is, it's going to be tough to fix it. Tiny homes is just one possibility here. In Oregon, they set it up really well so that it's gated. There's a process you go through, so there's no drug use. Yeah, it's really well planned out here. Okay, so yep, on with the rest of the candidates.
Speaking last by random draw is Mr. Frank Rieger.
Good evening, and thank you for being here to listen to us. I have 22 years experience in Penticton as the Secretary-Treasurer of the Penticton School District, and in the last close to 5 years, I've spent significant time trying to understand the City of Penticton finances by attending meetings, by getting involved in writing about some of the findings that I have. And it's really the sort of lack of success of trying to work from outside the system that's motivated me to run for the City Council. I learned with my financial accounting that really what you want to do is follow the money. And in a lot of cases, there are a lot of challenges in Penticton. So I strongly support the non-commercialization of our priceless parks, economic development programs that produce more tangible returns on investment, property tax sharing programs consistent with provincial norms. Penticton has an inherent advantage, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rieger. And throughout our good luck or bad luck of the draw, our final opening remarks are Ms. Katie Robinson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow candidates. My name is Katie Robinson, and I had the privilege of serving on Penticton City Council for 10 positive years. And I'm asking again, once again, for your vote on October 20th. This city needs strong leadership that listens and that is accountable to our citizens and you, the taxpayers. My number one priority always has been and always will be fiscal responsibility, spending tax money wisely. If you're looking for someone who believes in law and order, providing a safe community to live in, my track record speaks for itself. I'm your counselor. If you're looking for integrity and honesty, you will always get that from me, even if the truth hurts and even if it means I stand alone to speak it. And if you're looking for common sense, you have my commitment to stopping the money-wasting lawsuits. Please be the change and vote on October 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Because we have so many candidates, by the way, Darrell Sanders was invited to come tonight, but is not in attendance. So we have 23 of the 24 candidates. So that you get to learn more about them, we have posed a series of yes or no questions. We won't accept, well, I'm not sure. So if it's a gray area, are you stronger yes or are you stronger no? And please, when I do ask, leave your hands up. So for the benefit of the radio audience, because I'm going to read your surname. So the first question is about dental and extended medical benefits. The council from 2014 to 2018 joined other municipalities in the province and voted themselves a pay raise in the form take it. Only their mayor is allowed to purchase the package at 50% in Kelowna because they consider it a full-time job. So my question to all 23 of you is, if elected, will you accept an extended dental and medical benefit package? Yes, please raise your hands. Ms. Sendez? Okay, noes. Marston, Kimberly, Kelsey, Gilbert, Rockland, Edison, Darrell Clark, Glenn Clark, Brownlee, Bloomfield, Duffy Baker, Archer, Maxwell, Milne, O'Brien, Picton, Pryor, Proteau, Rieger, Robinson, and Selmar and Watt. Thank you very much. We're now going to turn the table. We are not taking questions from the floor. We want to ask each candidate at least 2 questions. They have 60 seconds to answer. We have a panel of distinguished media people here tonight. Thank you to Chris Walker from CBC Radio, who was here on Wednesday night. He declined the invitation to return because he felt he did not know the people well enough, but was anxious to do the mayoral candidate. So in his place, we have from infotelnews.ca. He's a longtime print journalist. He's a former editor of the Carameos Review. Mr. Steve Arstad is going to give the first show. Welcome, Steve. I need to pull a ticket out, so whoever is first, again, will get it. Candidates, please stay at the podium or where you are, but stand if you are able to answer the question. I'm sorry? So Marie Pryor, I'll bring the mic down, and then we're going to go to her right. And the question is exclusively for the candidate. They have 60 seconds to answer. Our media person may ask a follow-up. Throughout the course of the evening, each candidate is allowed 1 rebuttal or 1 challenge. And if they want to give a comment, please raise your hand so that I can see. So I can bring the mic down to Marie. If you want to stand up, please. And Steve, take it away.
Test, we're good? Okay, Ms. Pryor, in your opening, you suggested you would redirect the hotel tax into a general tax cut. It's my understanding of the hotel tax program that it must be used for tourism marketing purposes. Can you explain how you would somehow get it out of tourism purposes and general taxation instead?
With a great deal of negotiation. So, since we have the highest residential taxes in the Okanagan, firstly, I would push towards redirecting the hotel occupancy tax out of tourism, which should rightfully be revenue for the taxpayers. We should stop supporting the developers, also demanding variances. We should have mandatory compliance with bylaws. The fees should be calculated to cover all costs, including maintenance, with no more special tax breaks for special businesses, no more carrots, we need a big stick. The 2:18 tax ratio is multiplied by cost is not calculated in simple language. This complicated system is used to set the policies for property taxes. Do you understand it? I suggest we have a fiscally appointed board to afford clear financial accountability to the community. Do we need to look at implementing a small service fee to those living outside the city to use our facilities? This could reduce the taxes on the locals. And with regard to the RDOS,
I appreciate you getting your entire platform in, but you didn't answer the question. What do you want to negotiate with now? Legislation?
So I need to research more with the qualified people that have more experience than I do right now, but I'm on a steep learning curve and I will do whatever I can to bring down the taxes to our local residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I guess a little miscommunication. That was our panelist, Joe Fries from the Penticton Herald, our city editor, so thank you, Joe. Do you have the next question, Joe?
Are we going to...
Yes, we're going that way, so it's a Kevin Proteau question.
Yes, the next question's on. Mr. Proteau, in your opening, you talked about the locals supporting locals calendar. Can you tell us where that calendar is printed?
Where it's printed?
Yes.
Well, I tried to print it locally, but unfortunately the sunshine tax is too high, and I ended up place in Ontario, and he ended up ripping me off. Sadly, and I wasn't able to publish the calendar that year. And so I was contacted by a gentleman in California that had his own supporting local calendar and was publishing it actually before I started mine, and asked me my story. And then he told me that he happened to be a printer and he wanted to start a chapter of local supporting locals down there and get the best deal possible. And so to me it was a great opportunity, and working with their neighbor. So yeah, sadly the sunshine tax is way too high.
So you're telling us that the local supporting local calendar, which is all about shopping local, is not printed locally?
The one thing I can tell you though is I walk, hitchhike, and bike. All the labor in this calendar is done by me, and I hitchhike, walk, and bike from Summerland to Wasoy to put these together every year. And this is the 5th edition there. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So hi again, Kevin Proteau, editing in, not editing out. I feel like I have to do this, and because that was a very unfair question from Joe. And yes, I do have the advantage because I did record the event of doing this, and so it threw me off that he asked me that question, and I didn't realize his intention was just to focus on that, and so I guess discredit myself in the calendar. And that's very heartbreaking to me because I don't have kids, and I consider my calendars my kids because I'm very passionate about what I do with these calendars. So just a heads up, these are oversized calendars, okay? So it's not those regular ones like you get at the bank. And so there's only 2 businesses that are able to print a calendar of this size. And I priced it with them, and it was very high. And in order for me to get these printed and make it affordable to the businesses, because I want whoever wants to be on here should be on here. And it's so I even offered to do like I did for many other businesses here to bring prices down, like Superior Trades. Yep, Ron down at in Oliver there. To see if I can get the prices down, and it couldn't. So it was priced at a range. Then I had 2 calendars printed in Kelowna, and we ended our relationship. And everybody's got a story with a printer. Trust me, if you've had a lot of printing done. And then I tried I use the word gentleman very loosely here. In Ontario, sadly, he stole the money, and I wasn't able to print the calendar that year. And a lot of learning mistakes when I'm making these calendars here. And then the gentleman in California, who I spoke with for 2 hours on the phone, he contacted me. I did not contact him. And yeah, it just made sense. He wanted to form a chapter of local supporting locals down there, truly admired what I was doing up there, and actually understood the calendar. Okay, so I just wanted to show you here, because it tells you who we are, what we do, why it's important to shop locally. Okay, because local businesses are truly the heart of every community. Farmers, they're the ones who donate to a lot of organizations to help them keep going. You know, it could be hockey sweaters, boys and girls clubs. I mean, you know, like a lot of times there's, sadly, you know, let's say a child is in need, they have some sort of illness, they need to get to Vancouver. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how fast businesses rally together to help support one another, and that's why local supporting locals is very, very important here. So they are unique calendars, they're education tools, okay? So it tells you who we are, what we do, why it's important to shop locally. We also include in this year glyphosate, because now they found that a farmer just got sued, or Monsanto was sued by a farmer for $230 million and finally won because glyphosate is causing cancer, the ingredient in Roundup. As well, what is sustainable development coming out of the UN, the big corporations behind it, the ones that are causing all the problems and now are telling us what to do. And so very, very education tools there. And then I also included the 5G. Then we get into, because a lot of people like real living with real food, so real food has become a big issue. But first we got the distilleries, breweries on here, local music, and so down here, what I did is I actually put a farm fresh symbol beside any restaurant or cafe that actually supports their local farmer or has their own local farm. So very, very informative calendars. and then it shows different businesses, farmers, who they are, what they do, how you can find them at the farmers market. You can go to their farms for farm gate sales. And yeah, and then we even got health tips at the top of every month. These are all herbs, and herbs are very medicinal. A lot of people think medicine comes out of pill bottles. So yeah, and then it's got money saving coupons on the back, geared to get you back your money. We go door to door to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to purchase one of these. And so yeah, it was kind of disheartening the way Joe made that attack, and then I see it in the newspaper as well. And you know, so did you really find out anything about me and the calendar, or just that it wasn't printed here? Incidentally, I'd like to just mention that the Penticton Herald is actually not printed here anymore. It's actually printed in Kelowna, so a little hypocritical there, Joe.
All right, what's the next question? Okay, our next question is for Mr. Frank Rieger.
Mr. Reader, you've talked circles around this before about tax ratios and such. I'm not sure that anyone actually understands it, but in your view, what would an appropriate and fair tax ratio be?
Well, go ahead. Hello? Okay, thank you for the question. There's 161 municipalities in British Columbia. Each and every municipality, city council gets to decide how do you share taxes between the residential taxpayer and the business taxpayer. And on average, the standard is about 260% amount of the residential tax is what is charged to the business taxpayer for the same assessment. So $1,000 charge for residential would be a $2,600 charge for a municipality on property of the same value. In Penticton, the average is about 1.6% or 160%. So we are substantially below the provincial average. In the Okanagan Valley, the average is about a 230% average. So I believe we should be working towards the provincial average, but we should do a review of what is the rationale for what we're doing and come to a fair arrangement for the Penticton taxpayers.
Thank you. Who has the next question, table? Okay, please welcome, I'm very glad to say she was hired a month ago as an interim reporter, and James Miller takes the interim out of the term interim reporter. She's now a full-time hire with us. She's a Princess Margaret graduate, has lived in Penticton for 20 years, so please show our appreciation of just joining the team as of 4 o'clock today. Ms.
My first question is for Ms. Robinson. Do you support and encourage the youth to be leaders in their community and to be more involved in politics?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
Do you support and encourage the youth to be leaders in their community and be more involved in politics?
Absolutely. The youth is our future, and judging by our 20-year-old who spoke earlier, I'd say that's a very bright future. Go Cadets. I've been a supporter of the Air Cadets for a long time. They do learn how to lead and be good citizens. I think it's nice to have some youth on council, with the one caveat that the last time I was on council, we had a young man who was in his 20s. And when we started talking about tax exemption for churches, he said, well, I don't understand why the Salvation Army gets an exemption. They're not a church. And I kind of went, oh my God, I almost fell out of my seat. And I thought, you know, those are the kinds of things that you should actually know before you run for council. So experience goes a long way, but I'm all for mentorship, and I'm very pleased to see that the youth in this community are getting involved and stepping up and speaking out. Thank you.
I just want to follow up on that. You made a comment in 2014 which you called Boonstock Festival goers headbanging junkies, and you did issue a statement of apology afterwards. So with that being said, how do you plan on regaining the trust of youth that may feel that they will be unfairly judged or mislabeled because of their age or perhaps love of music?
Well, in hindsight, I wish that I had stated my views a little more tactfully that evening. You know, I've been in Penticton since 1985, and since then I've been the president of Beach Festival. I'm a founding member of the Festival, which I believe a lot of youth go to, at least the ones that are of legal age. I've also been a founding member of the Wine Festival back in Alia, back in the day, so that we encouraged more entertainment for youth and everyone else, and I guess you'll have to stay tuned for the rest.
Thank you. Okay, we now have Connie Selmark question.
Thank you. Ms. Selmark, last night Yuka Lario, it was brought to public's attention that Yuka Lario was arrested in the 1990s. He was convicted of a sex crime, and he's currently running for mayor. How would you feel working alongside a sex offender?
That's really to make our discussion tonight. That's up to the city to decide who they want to elect for mayor, and whoever's elected, I would work with as a team player.
Do you want to keep the streets of Penticton safe though, so that people can walk down the streets and feel safe at night?
Don't you think that's a silly question?
Not at all. I wasn't safe to walk down the streets.
When you look at our crime rate, that is indicative of something wrong. It's like when you have a headache with the flu. You don't solve it just by taking an aspirin. You got to get to the source of the problem. And we have a high crime rate because we're facing a critical mass of affordable housing that is not there. Of course, we're seeing the stresses and pressures of not having a steady income that you can rely on. The community is under a tremendous amount of pressure. And that's why I'm running this time, is because we need to have a solid vision how to solve these things, and they have to be created to work together. And right now, we're not being bold enough in how we're addressing these problems.
Just for the benefit of the media table, if you can kind of just make eye contact with me and let me know what is the next question. Okay, and so Melanie Exel has a question for Judy Santos.
Ms. Santos, I want to give you the opportunity to clear the air about this carriage house discussion that's been going around the city. What's your stance on allowing carriage houses in Penticton and in your neighborhood as the current owner of a property that has a carriage house?
Well, as you stated, I do have a carriage house. It's 7 years old. It was built in compliance with the city regulations. It had the support of the community. It is has been for my daughter and her husband, so it was a family issue that was resolved. I'm supportive of that strategy of infill along with secondary suites, but it has to be compliant, and my project was compliant.
Thank you. Joe Fries has a question for Campbell Watt.
Mr. Watt, during your time as executive director, or pardon me, as president of the Downtown Penticton Association, there were some financial irregularities that were investigated by the police. We understand police have recommended charges against someone, but you were kind of at the helm during that period. Would you pay greater attention to city finances than you did the DPA finances?
I'm afraid that I trust professionals, and it is not my job. I certainly don't believe it's anybody's job to ask an executive director to then give to an accountant and then have to do something that I'm not a professional in. I'm afraid I'm not one of those people that can look at a set of financials and be sure that everything is accounted for. I can tell you that that particular case is something that we've been talking about, I've been questioned on. I had overlapping presidency during that, and it was something that was done very creatively, and it's not something that everybody would have caught. In fact, I hesitate to guess that it's something that nobody would have caught.
Front table, those who are capable of standing, please stand for the benefit of the audience. If you don't have the riser, you're fine, John, there. And it looks like Steve Arstad has a question for John Hirsch.
John, do you support spending $40 million on a performing arts center in Penticton? And if so, where do you suggest the money comes from?
As a volunteer at the Penticton Art Gallery for several years, I have been very supportive of the arts. I've just been apprised of this proposed development of the $40 million. I would have to do far more work in order to make a fair assessment of the presentation from the society in order to examine fully what could be done. I think the arts in the community is undervalued in its ability to draw into the community more professionals and improve the quality of life for people in the community. $40 million is a lot of money. I haven't examined the entire budget of the proposal, but I would certainly encourage a very detailed look at its proposal.
Thank you. All right, we have a question for Duffy Baker.
Thanks, Jim.
That's fine.
Duffy, did present council do enough to deal with drug issues affecting the city?
Sorry, repeat that?
Did present council do enough to deal with drug issues plaguing the city?
Drug issues.
Is there still drug issues in the city? Is my question. Yes, there is. So I would have to say no, but that's not saying they're not doing their job. I believe that we can come up with a solution together with the council that was in place and the council to be, to actually create a better system to help with the drug reduction in this town.
Thank you for your answer. Next question is for Julius Bloomfield.
Julius, you were a provincial Green Party candidate in 2009, and were at one point the deputy leader, correct?
Correct.
What is your involvement with the party presently?
I'm not involved in the party now.
Do you support Andrew Weaver?
Yes, I think that Andrew has some great ideas. He's in a balancing position. He's a politician, and he's working in a coalition. So I think that a lot of the things, a lot of his ideologies that he would like to bring forward, he has to temper. But I think that when Andrew walks into the room, if he's in a meeting, he's probably the smartest man in the room. The guy, he's incredibly intelligent, and I think he's done a fantastic job. And I think he's brought the focus of the Green Party, or the profile of the Green Party up, and he's improved it dramatically since he's been the leader.
Thank you. And one more question. Are your provincial and federal leanings more to the Green?
I would say that I'm a pragmatic Green. I understand the realities of the economy. I value the environment, but at the same time, we have to live as a society on this planet. And there are some things that we have to sacrifice, and I understand that. And to the benefit of the community, if we have to make some sacrifices, then as long as the long-term vision, the long-term movement is towards a sustainable environment for the planet, then that is my goal.
A reminder to all the candidates, you are allowed one challenge at any time during the evening, but you may want to save it till the second round, but just please raise your hand. We have a question for Karen Brownlee.
Ms. Brownlee, in your opening, you suggested you would give voters their voice back. Where did their voices go?
The city took them away. They made the noises of ballots and come out and show your opinion and tell us what you think. And at the end of the day, they said, you know what, screw you, we don't really give a shit because this is how we're going about doing it. So our voice is my city, and it's your city. We have that voice. There's more of us than them. So we're going to go out and we're going to take back our voice because we don't want to see some of the things they're doing. Skyscrapers, are you kidding? Nah.
The mayor had that question last night, and he suggested that things had improved in the last 2 years with shaping your city and engagement strategists and everything else. Do you think those have been effective, or what would you do differently?
No, because why would they pay money to get 6 or so Vancouver people to do surveys and studies a month or so before election? When the new council is going to get voted in and redirected. And when they say current city says we don't want to have Vancouver or Penticton like Vancouver, yeah. No, they do want that because all the slides show Vancouver is like this and this is how Vancouver is. And no, we have no land mass to sustain a huge population without tearing down some of our views.
Thank you, Ms. Brownlee. Pass the microphone over, and we have 2 clerks on the panel, so we will start with a question for Glenn Clark.
Mr. Clark, in your opening address, you suggested that the South Okanagan Performing Arts Centre would equal more industrial jobs. Can you explain that equation?
I'm not sure about equaling. What I'm saying is that when we want to bring new industry into our town, we need industry. We need jobs that pay more than $12 an hour. We need to have that infrastructure in place, that important infrastructure, so that businesses come here. They come like, do I want to bring my family here? And they see all these hockey arenas, but they don't see much for the kids otherwise, for the cultural. So we've always seen that money for arenas, but we never have any money for cultural amenities. So that's what's my point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clark with an E, Mr. Darrell Clark.
Mr. Clark, number 2, in your opening address, you talked about improving access to the industrial area. Perhaps you mentioned traffic routes. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Right now, one of the biggest problems we're having with industry is the company that I work for, used to work for, Cut Technologies. We have problems getting our steel into the city. Traffic routes are being choked. The industrial routes are being clogged with more residential traffic as it goes through. We need to have the secondary supply routes, the supply chains, all of that sort of stuff works for the industrial area. We lost a couple of trucking companies because their trucks had nowhere to refuel, they had nowhere to get the rest, they had nowhere to park. It was too cumbersome to come into Penticton. While I was working there, we also had issues on Dawson, just backing our trucks up. It's just getting too congested, and we need these jobs to sustain our community and to make us go forward. We don't need to close that area off. We don't need to put up more traffic barriers. We don't need more lights. When you're coming off of industrial, over a period of 5 kilometers going up there, there's too many lights, there's too many stops, and those trucks have to stop and start. At the hospital, there's a flashing crosswalk. They have to stop and start. It's tough for trucks to do that.
Thank you. Christopher Evison has the next question.
Mr. Evanson, when Ms. Robinson was asked about the balance on council, and she mentioned Wes Hopkins perhaps was too young. What's your response to that? You're younger than Wes was when he was elected. Do you have the necessary life experience, and if not, how will you overcome that?
That's a great question. I was actually anticipating that question. Basically, I've spent 7 years, everybody has to start somewhere. Without support, How is anybody without any experience supposed to gain experience? You wouldn't expect someone who wants to be a plumber or a teacher to wait 30, 40 years to get into the trade that they love. Why would you expect anyone to wait 30 to 40 years to get into the career that they want, such as politics? Sorry, I do have a little bit more. I know that everybody, no matter who you pick on this council, has a lot of experience. Everybody comes from multiple backgrounds. And I know for a fact that a lot of them will be willing to support me and help me when I'm on council. I know that there's lots of information and lots of support from the staff in the city. And I know that there's lots of information out on the internet. And as well as I have the voters and the public that I can talk to and figure out, hey, okay, what are people feeling important about? What is really important about Penticton? And I will use all the resources available to learn how to do the job best I can.
Melanie Ansel has a question for Joe Rockledge.
Mr. Rockledge, you spoke about in wheelchair accessibility in your opening statement. I've heard concerns from the public about wheelchair accessibility at local tourist spots such as Munson Mountain or even Basalt Lake. How do you plan on bringing wheelchair accessibility to more outdoor tourist destinations?
Okay, can you repeat that back end first? I didn't quite understand that.
Which part about how? So I've heard concerns from the public that there isn't wheelchair accessibility to local tourist spots such as Munson Mountain. So if elected, how do you plan on bringing wheelchair accessibility to more outdoor local tourist spots?
Well, first, I think that's got to be dealt with people in council. Let me tell you, we're suffering from a lot of different mobility problems. What really gets me is, you know, we're talking about the mobility issue. What about our seniors that have mobility issues? These are the people, you people here are the ones that started this. You know, you brought Penticton the way it is, okay? And they should have the mainstay. How many people in here right now would have mobility issues? Just raise your hand quick. There's enough. We need to make them better for our people here. If I'm elected, I talk from my heart, and believe me, all the seniors are in my heart. And mobility is the top one. I've been in this thing for 7 years. I know what mobility is about. I know what's got to be done. One good one, quickly. We have washrooms. Why isn't there a button inside? Get in the door and out the door.
Okay, we have our first challenge. We have our first challenge of the night. I'll bring the microphone over, Doug. So as I said, each candidate is allowed to retract once, and so Doug would like to answer for 60 seconds the issue of mobility.
My mother was in a scooter for quite a few years. I also walked to the hockey games all through the winter, and there's a number of people that don't adhere to our bylaws for cleaning their walks in the winter. And so when I walk down from my house to the arena, there's probably 6 people, and they're the same 6 people year after year after year after year after year that don't clean their walks. And I've been to the bylaw department. The bylaw department says, give me the addresses. Nothing really happens. They go out there once. It doesn't correct itself. The people have to be in charge and take responsibility for looking after the sidewalks and their yards. Thank you.
Meeting table, please mark down that Doug Maxwell had a challenge. Our next question is for Mr. Isaac Gilbert.
Mr. Gilbert, what experience qualifies you to set spending and revenue generation priorities and initiatives in the city of Penticton's $79 million budget?
That's a really good question. For myself, when I came to Penticton, I was really excited about getting involved inside the community. And one of the things that I wanted to start was a tool library cooperative. And a person that doesn't come back from a business background, I learned a lot through that experience through months of different surveys and creating a feasibility study. And with that experience of that feasibility study, I realized that I didn't have the confidence to be able to move forward with that project. So when it comes to the city of Penticton, I understand about, we got to make sure that we're fiscally responsible and not going overhead and making sure that we scaled it down. And that was one of the things I learned from that experience of engaging with people and talking about it and going through, will I have enough money to be able to get this project off the ground? And that's one thing that I will bring to the city of Penticton is, that experience of, looking at it, is it feasible for us to do it? Are we going to be fiscally responsible and can we afford it? Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Arstead from Proteau News has a question for Lynn Kelsey.
Lynn, you've attended all but 2 council meetings over a long period of years at Penticton Council. What would you do differently protocol-wise? It's not being done now.
What would we do differently? Which way wise?
Protocol-wise.
Protocol-wise. Protocol-wise, I feel that one of the things that happens is we do public hearings on issues that are very, very contentious, and then within 20 minutes, a decision is made, which leads me to believe that they haven't heard a word that has been said. I've felt that way many, many times. I asked for some changes so that they would not make the decision the same night. If it's uncontested, that's one thing. But if it's contested, or if there's 1,000 people outside the door, you don't make the decision right then and there. And so I feel that that's really, really important. The mayor is very, very good at reminding me that I must not editorialize, I must not make any commentary, I must only ask a question. And quite frankly, asking that question doesn't necessarily get me the answer I'm looking for. So sometimes you're going to get some editorializing. I feel the 3-minute limit is good, but it has to be for everybody. There's been times when other people have well extended that time.
Thank you. Question on the floor for Mr. Jake Kimberly.
Mr. Kimberly, had the SOEC not gone over budget, would there have been enough money in the public wallet to purchase a performing arts center?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
If the SOEC budget had not gone so over budget, would there have been enough money in the public coffers to purchase a performing arts center?
No, not at all. No, you have to realize that the event center costs $52 million for the structure itself. The rest of the costs are associated with the grounds around it, the uplift station or the station for the sewage treatment, as well as roadways, etc., and the purchase of homes just to widen the highways around the event center. The Performing Arts Center has been struggling over the years. We purchased the land because that was the only piece of land that was available for a performing arts building. That is on the corner from the 901 Ellis. That property has to be held. I really have spoken strongly about holding that property because if you or council lose that property, there is nowhere else to put a performing arts center. And don't forget that the Landmark Theatre, when I was in office, we campaigned to keep the Landmark Theatre in the downtown core to support the downtown, period. That was a hard fight because the Ministry of Environment were trying to stop that project, but we got through it. But anyway, the Performing Arts Center, we're located in the downtown core, and I will say that we've done many studies on that, and it would be very successful in the city.
So just to follow up, do you think that the SOEC went over budget because of the land around it, having purchased houses, sewage like you mentioned? Do you believe that's why it went over budget?
It went over budget because at the time when the construction was going on, steel prices doubled, concrete prices doubled, electrical supplies doubled. Everything went over the top in that period of time when that building was going up. You know what I was being suggested that we should have contracted it rather than put it on the cost plus. Had we contracted that, and the contractor, I've been in construction all my life, had we contracted that, and the contractor was faced with a double cost of steel, they would have folded their tent and walked away. Because I've seen it happen so many times. If you can't budget for that in the contract, you're dead. So the cost overruns were associated with material costs, with the surrounding development of the lands around it, and that's why it went to the price it did.
Okay, so it did go over budget due to the surrounding land.
But I just want to remind you, that this is not my figure.
But it went...
Figures of the Chamber of Commerce have indicated that the event center brings in $33 to $30 million a year. It did go over budget due to material costs and the surrounding land. So the point I'm getting at is, do you think that it went over budget due to poor planning? No, not at all. Not at all. We knew that work had to be done, but we didn't know how much extent the work had to be done.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Melanie. Pass the microphone, then we have a challenge on the floor before we get to Jesse. Mr. Darrell Clark will use his one challenge of the night.
I love the SOEC and I'm glad it's there where it is now. One of the things we did wrong was we built a beautiful building at the peak of the economy. When we build these public buildings, what we need to do is the economy is a cycle. The pool was built because we had that plan ready on the shelf to come off when things crashed in 08. We built the SOEC at the peak of the economy, when everyone was working, when steel was expensive, when concrete was expensive. These projects, we need them, but we need to hold these in the wings until the economy tanks. We need these to keep people in town, to keep people working. So these things, yes, we do need them, and yes, it was expensive, but it was built at the wrong time. And we could have saved a lot of money on a lot of these things had we waited for the downturn of the economy like we did with the pool. It was ready to go, the federal government gave us money, and it helped a lot. And I certainly don't say we shouldn't build the SOEC, but we should time it properly when people are out of work and not working.
Okay. Mr. Kimberly is going to use his one challenge to challenge his question and Mr. Carter's challenge. So you have 60 seconds, sir.
I'm not going to challenge Mr. Clark. I just want to make it very clear tonight regarding the event center, because this is built a long time ago. It was done in 2005, 2008, during my term of office. Okay? At that time, we obtained $60-odd million from the lottery funds, thanks to our treasurer, Jack Clerk. I give him full credit. Full credit for the motion he did. What that meant at that time was a house valued at $350,000 was going to get an increase of taxes of $9 for the next 3 years. At the end of 3 years, the cost per home, $350,000, was $27. We're subsidizing now through the management of that project to the tune of $1 million a year. When I left office in 1996, I had a budget request from the convention center on my desk for $880,000 to subsidize the convention center and the Memorial Arena. We are now paying the management for the SOEC, the Memorial Arena, the convention center, about $1 million a year subsidy. Thank you. It's well worth it. It's the greatest thing. We would never have that in today's society or in today's costs. You would never see an event center in this city at all. Never.
Thank you. There's no other challenges on the floor, so we have a question for Mr. Jesse Martin.
Hopefully not.
Mr. Martin, yesterday, Mr. Vasilaki said that he believes that the city needs to negotiate with the Penticton Indian Band in order to have access to leasable land for industrial growth. What is your opinion on this statement?
It's a bold statement. As somebody who spent the last 7 years working over there, building relationships with the people over there and the leadership, you really need to get them on board to do something like that. I think for us to do that, we need to do something in good faith to show that our hearts are in the right place and we're willing to go the extra mile to build that relationship with them. An example of something like that would be to include them in our public transit. What we can do is we can have a bus stop on the lower res and another one up by the band hall, and it would allow youth and elders that are coming from the band to
to come into the city and get a safe ride home. Because as a teacher, I've seen students of mine, and I taught grade 7 and 8, I've seen them in town at 11 o'clock at night because they couldn't get a ride home and had to walk home. I gave them a ride. Not supposed to as a teacher, but sometimes teaching comes first. I love a teacher. So I think for us to do that, we need to build a stronger relationship, big time. But I see it as definitely a possibility down the road that I'm totally willing to work towards. Thank you. Great question.
All right, I'm just going to move down to the end of the table and up to the upper tier. We have a question for Mr. Doug Maxwell.
Mr. Maxwell, you mentioned that you live downtown, as do I, and my neighborhood is densifying, and there's been all sorts of problems associated with that. Parking, to begin with, a lot more rental properties, noisy neighbors, those sorts of things. How will you do densification and ensure it doesn't hurt the neighbors, the existing neighbors such as myself?
Well, I think when we moved into that neighborhood, I knew that the zoning was going to be an official community plan to medium density, so I was aware of that at that time. The bigger problem there, I have no noisy neighbors because my house has been empty next door for the last 5 years. So it's very quiet, but it does have homeless people around the area. In fact, there was a lady that died in my neighborhood there the other day from that problem. So I've been broken into a couple of times. I put bars on my windows because of that. I haven't had any problems since, but I guess I had to weigh the differences between living downtown, which is just a great place to live. I walk everywhere. I walked here tonight. And driving my car from somewhere that's up in the hills. I don't have a problem downtown. Thank you.
So it sounds like people living downtown or in dense areas should just accept the lower standard of living for the privilege of living downtown?
I don't accept it as a lower standard of living. It's what I wanted when I moved in.
Well, you would agree though that if you're dealing with crime, you're dealing with no place to park, a lot of rental units with noise and people coming and going, that would be a lower standard of living than say someone living in the Wiltshire area where there's less traffic and such. But you're saying we should just suck it up and know that we should expect that higher densification because we live downtown?
No, the one.
So what's your solution then?
Well, first of all, one fellow broke into my house. I found him out on Wiltshire. I break into another house. I called the police. Well, I don't think that's the reason. And next, the housing that's being brought on stream in the next 6 months to a year is going to help the situation downtown a whole bunch, and I'm hoping that it comes on as soon as possible. I know that it's being delayed and it seems like it's forever getting on stream, but I think it'll help our problem downtown and the upper area as well, a whole bunch. So I'm patiently waiting for the housing to come on. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is for Christopher Milne.
Mr. Milne, in your opening statement, you said you listened and heard all over the place, and that you would engage people on every decision you made. Tell us where and how you listened and heard, and how was it practical to engage people on every single decision you made? At some point, you got to just make a decision, no?
Well, the thing is, I run a cafe in the downtown core there, 400 blocks. So I over my 4 years here, I've probably seen thousands and thousands of the residents here, and I have individually gotten to speak to each and every one of them at some point. And there's a point where you create a relationship with people in the city, and you start to connect with them, and they start to share with you. They start to share with you more than they may share with other people. And I'm not giving up that position, that job, if I do this. And so I will constantly be in contact with the people in my community, and I will always listen to them, and I will always share with them what we are doing. And I think it's a benefit for me to be in the community that way, and I think it can only benefit all of us in the long run. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Next question is for Mr. David O'Brien.
Mr. O'Brien, in your opening statement, didn't say much. You said we would hear your platform. What is your platform, and who are you?
Thanks very much. We've got 24 people here with 24 platforms. I'm not so sure this is the place to actually deliver it. However, when I talk to people here in Penticton, what I really hear loud and clear is people are struggling on fixed incomes. They're really upset about the hidden tax and their electrical, their water and sewage billing. I talk to moms and dads, they're upset about finding needles in the parks. I talk to seniors that feel that their issues aren't being discussed, that they're not included. I think you've got to really look at the actions of people, the actions of the politicians, more than the words, more than the platforms. What are their actions? What have they done? All right? We're going to have another 20 plus days here to speak to you, to put our thoughts into the paper, to meet you and discuss where we stand. Where do we stand? Where do you stand? That's why I'm running. I want to be a public servant who listens, who tries to deliver what your opinion is, not what my opinion is. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and our final question for round one of two, through random draw, either good luck or bad luck, is Max Penticton.
Mr. Dickon, in your opening address, you talked about the city getting a South Okanagan shared services agreement. Which services are now actually being shared as a result of that agreement, and how much is it actually saving taxpayers?
There's quite a few initiatives that we're looking at as the city. Some of the opportunities surround the dark fiber cable that we have underneath the roadways in town, and there's opportunity to improve communication between the school district, the city, and others. Sorry, I didn't have this on the top of my mind. I have to apologize, I'm drawing a bit of a blank on this one.
So are there any services that are being shared presently as a result of this? Do you know?
Yeah, I have to admit I'm drawing a blank on this one, and I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, that's the end of round one, candidates. I'm sure you all came here tonight, and I think it's great, so thank you very much. We have advertised as no softball questions, so we are going to do a snapper for a moment, and before we go to our second round of questions. So great answers. Give these people a hand. I think you're doing a great job. And I always respect anyone who does put their name up for public office and to serve the community. So we do thank them for offering to serve. So now you have three choices here: frequent, occasionally, or seldom never. So frequently, occasionally, or seldom never. And we probably know what the answer is going to be. I was asked, do you use city buses? City buses. Do you use public transportation? Does anybody take the bus? Frequently, raise your hand. Well, okay, for the people listening at home, no hands. How about occasionally? All right. Milne, Pryor, Salmark, Kelsey take the bus occasionally, and I'm assuming that the rest of the field is seldom or never, but please put your hand up. Okay. All right, seldom or never. Okay. And Mr. Proteau, do you take the bus? Frequently. Frequently, okay, so we have frequently for Mr. Proteau. Thank you. Put your hands down. And thank you to the Lakeside staff. People are dying of thirst up here, so we do have some water, so please do share it, even if you don't necessarily like the person sitting beside you. And here's a tough question. It's on finances, and I realize it's a broad question, but you have two choices here. Let's just hypothetically say that the city has a very bad financial year for whatever reason. In order to balance the budget or to make it reasonable, if it ultimately went down to raise raising taxes or having to cut some staff and services, what would you do? So again, a tough year financially, and the choices are raising taxes or cutting staff or services. Ultimately, I realize that you're going to do a bit of both, but if it's one or the other, who would vote to raise taxes? Put your hands up high, I will acknowledge you. Penticton, Robinson, Salmar, Sentes, Archer, Baker, Evanston, Gilbert, Kelsey, and Kimberly. Who would cut staff or services or trim? Maxwell, Milne, O'Brien, Pryor, Proteau, Rieger, Bloomfield, Brownlee, Clark, Froglage, Kimberly, and Martin. I'm sorry, Mr. Watt, how did you vote? Okay, that's not your choice. I'm sorry? Raise taxes? Okay, thank you. All right. God, yes. Yes, you absolutely may. So we have a microphone up there, okay? So pass it back. So Ms. Robinson is going to use her lone challenge.
Thank you. I don't believe in either or. That's kind of like saying your life is in black and white. There's a lot of gray out there. Believe me, I know about that. Anyway, I would certainly look at doing both, not just either or. I think you have to look at moderation somewhere and come up with something that everybody can live with. So we can tighten the belt, and we might be able to have a small tax increase, and we might be able to cut back on some services. So I would do both.
Thank you. Jay, you've already been to panel. Thank you. Okay, Peach City Radio, can you draw out one more name, please, so we can start round two? We'll have some more snapper questions later for the panel. Just keep the microphone on the upper tier, that's fine. And whose name got drawn to be first? Isaac Gilbert. Isaac Gilbert, okay, so if you stand there, sir. And again, we're going to rotate in the same way.
How would you address concerns about safety in Penticton?
Sorry, safety in Penticton?
Yes.
And what kind of safety?
Overall safety on the streets. We've heard a lot about the crime element, that sort of thing. What would you do to make streets safer in the city?
So safety is a big thing in the city, especially when it comes to what we've been talking about, like high crime, and you feel safe when you're walking out. For example, with me, to answer the question, I don't use the bus because I bike everywhere, and that's also a safety for myself. Coming from an enforcement background as a park ranger, how do we get there? To me, it's about we got to start looking at this, at making stuff safer by dealing with more compassion in our city and being able to look at the drug addiction as a health issue. They're not undesirables, they're not animals, they're people like you and I. And it's about the city to take a big leadership on that to basically try to move into that. One thing I've thought about is for the city to create a society of a restorative justice society for petty crime, not grievous crimes. It has been known to reduce reoffenders into the system, and also it allows the offender and the victim to sit down and talk to one another and come to the common ground. Also too, within the field, when I'm as a park ranger, is how we talk to people. When I go out as an enforcement officer, I've probably seen at Skull Hop Bluffs, it's about always giving people respect and dignity. And I would love to see that happen more often with bylaw. I'm not saying that they don't do it, but to really reinforce that when you're going out there. Thank you.
We have a question for Lynn Kelsey.
Ms. Kelsey, you've been at city council meetings. I've seen you there myself. itself. So you've heard the conversations about housing quite a bit. Then how do you propose to bring affordable housing to Penticton?
Affordable housing, as I said, I'm the vice chair on the official community plan task force. And one of the things that we're looking at for affordable housing is infill, but responsible infill. Going into neighborhoods that, with consulting the neighbors and making sure that we're doing the right thing. The official community plan, I think, will go a long way towards setting out the areas that we should be looking at infill. I think we should also be partnering with BC Housing and other agencies like Kiwanis. If they're willing to, and they have the land, then we need to partner with them, and we need to do things along with them. The long-standing argument I've had with at City Council, and the question I ask on a very, very frequent basis, when they say, this is affordable housing, and the next thing I say is, what is your definition of affordable? Because I can tell you, I've gone toe-to-toe with different people where their definition for affordable is $400,000 for a half duplex. That doesn't fit in my definition of affordable. And having worked in social services and worked at Sowens for 15 years, I know the biggest challenge for a lot of our families has been to find housing that's not only affordable, but safe.
Thank you. All right, we have a question for Mr. J. Kimberly.
Mr. Kimberly, I want to follow up on my last discussion with you. I'm just curious about how the rising cost of materials could not have been foreseen when building the SODC. Do you not budget for cost overruns?
You obviously never worked in construction.
Just a second, audience, please respect our candidates. Thank you. We'll restart the clock.
That's why I'm asking you. You do work in construction, though, that's why I'm asking you.
Well, you never worked in construction before because costs can go up.
Do you know if I haven't worked in construction?
I'm sorry. You want me to answer? Or
I do.
I'm telling you, if you worked in construction, you know that the cost can escalate overnight.
Did you guys not budget for that, though?
Of course you can't budget for it. How can you budget for $1 million worth, $2 million worth of steel when you don't know that the price is going to escalate because of the import duties and everything else on it overnight? That's a ridiculous question, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, Justin Martin is next.
Please give the mic back.
I'm sorry.
Let's give the mic back to Jake, please.
Okay, sorry, we'll be with you inside.
Sorry, we'll have those two questions as one for Mr. Kimberly, but the other criticism that's come forward with you, people are suggesting you're a retread, stay in the past. Why are you coming back? Why are you coming back?
Have you seen my letters to your paper?
Sorry?
Have you seen my letters to your editor?
Yes.
Yourself?
Yes. Why are you coming back?
Because I'm passionate about this city and I didn't like the decisions the last 4 years we've made. I came back because of that.
All right. Thank you. Jesse Martin is next.
Mr. Martin, following up on the last question to you, you give some unique insight into this, but you talked about rebuilding that relationship with the Penticton Indian Band. This new administration seems to be a lot more reclusive than the last one. And you suggested maybe it's showing some good faith. I don't think that has worked for the current council. What would you do differently?
What would I do differently? I have a personal relationship with the present council, and I had a meeting with the past chief, Jonathan Kruger, the other day, and we had a good discussion about what's happening right now. And I think a big reason why there is not a lot of faith between us and the current council over there is just because they've taken a different tact. Jonathan was a very business-minded chief. He had that foresight, and the whole community kind of went on a reverse note, where all of a sudden became a little bit more protectionist, a little bit more let's hold our resources a little bit closer to our chest. So the only way that we can kind of get through to them is to build up that relationship first. We can't talk about partnerships, we can't talk about building over there yet. We need to spend some time on just getting to know them, letting them get letting them get to know us, and spending some time together, building that relationship, because that's what the present council's like. They don't trust outsiders a lot, and so we need to work on building ties so that they don't see us as outsiders anymore, but rather neighbors and partners. Thank you.
Before we go to a Doug Maxwell question, it's time for two snappers, and so it's a yes or no question, and I do realize that sometimes there's a gray area, but we have 23 people here and limited time on the microphone, so this does give the public a better idea of who you are and what your stance on the issue are. So let's talk about Scott Lake Park for a moment. It was in the news quite a bit for a 2-year news cycle. And so the question is, if elected, will you assure the public that there will be no form of commercialization outside of a snack bar in Skaha Lake Park? Yes or no? Can you give the public that assurance? So will you fight to make sure there's not commercialization in Skaha Lake Park? Yes. Okay, we have everyone except for Joe Frockledge. Joe, are you voting no? Okay, so Joe is abstaining. He says it's a tough question. So the panel has, I'm sorry?
We talked about many other things, right? About the Skaha Lake, we heard last night.
Do you want to use a challenge, sir? Yeah. Okay, Joe is going to use his one challenge. So for the benefit of the people at home, everyone has voted yes, except Joe is going to explain what his vote is.
You know, we've talked about Skaha Lake. Everything else we've talked about houses, right? Am I correct? Anybody here last night, was here last night? Nobody really talked about, this is just one important issue, okay? That's this. Not yet have I heard from anyone we have a $40 billion $40 billion to homelessness. What do you think we should do? We don't need to dig into our budget. The federal government's going to do it. This here is a plan, people, not a dream, and it's already been successful in a number of cities, okay? We're worried right now about the Skaha Lake deal. It's done, it's over, nothing to do about it now. Let's carry on, let's get new council, let's hammer down with it. I'll tell you, I'm one voice that will stick up. I don't care who it is. Thank you, and I hope that you guys will vote for me, and we'll get something done in this city. Trust me, we will.
Okay, Skaha Lake Park, we have two challenges on the floor. Doug, we'll get to you in just a moment. And Jesse Martin had his hand up. You have 60 seconds to answer what was the snapper question.
Okay, well, I put my hand up already. So like I said, I am all in favor of leaving our green space alone. I think that green space is already at a premium within the city, and there's so many excellent benefits to green space. I just had my girlfriend telling me earlier today that nature and green space are proven to improve sleep patterns, depression, and anxiety. If anything, we need more green space in this town. We need to have a healthy community. So, that's the reason yes, I'll always fight for anything on Park Road.
Thank you. Okay, and we have a challenge from John Archer.
Thank you very much. One of the reasons why I engaged in this process to become a councillor was to have effective communication with all citizens. Another reason was I saw the commercialization of the beaches and the parks in Penticton. On 3 occasions, I wrote all of the mayors and every council member 3 times expressing my deep concerns about the parks. Did I ever receive a response? No, not from one council member or the mayor. I joined Protect Penticton Park Society at its inception. And I've been an advocate for membership to that society. It's all very popular now for many people to vote green. But where was everybody else, aside from Jake Kimberly and myself, holding memberships of the Protect Penticton Park Society when they needed our support and our advocacy? I would like to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kevin Proteau is going to use this one challenge.
Okay, so I was a big part of filming the whole Ska Park fiasco here, and but the one thing I will say is that I'm not a politician. I don't like the word politician here, and we got any comments here, and I want to hear from the ones that occurred in the council here, because they all voted in favor of that deal, and yet now they just asked would you protect it, and then they said yes they would. Like, come on, how can you say that after the way you guys voted, what you guys did? Like, I want to hear from you. Are you telling the truth now, or you were lying back then? Wait a minute. That's why I'm like all over the great city hall. You know, it's actual
All right. Okay, Campbell Watt is going to use, Campbell, you can just stand up at the lectern if you like. He's going to use this one challenge for 60 seconds.
Thank you. Admittedly, this is not where I wanted to use my challenge, but to respond to Mr. Proteau. If he wasn't listening to my opening remarks, I in fact did ask for this to come back, and that's where I was sitting. That's where I stand now, which is why my hands up.
All right, Max Penticton is going to use his one challenge.
I think most people in this community know that I was a believer in that project. I thought that it would be great to have a little bit more diversity within that park, and I supported the park. I supported the development of the water slides in 11% of Ska Park because I thought it would be good for a segment of the population to utilize. The reason why I raised my hand to say that I would protect it in the future is because back then we didn't have a park use policy that guided our actions within these parks. So I was forced with the mandate of standing up for the constituents that voted me in and and supporting them with that decision. Now that we have a policy that we can use as a guiding document, we will support that document because it was developed by the community with community consult, and we now have direction on what the community does want for that park moving forward.
I'm sorry, Mr. Proteau, everyone gets one challenge. Everyone had agreed to the ground rules when they came tonight. We have a point order. Mrs. Santos, you'd like to use, okay? Here, I can come to you. So Judy Santos is going to use her one challenge.
Thank you. At the risk of being repetitive here, and it's not my first choice to use my one and only challenge in this way, but yes, I too voted for the project to be explored. I think you have to think out of the box sometimes, and not always do you get the outcome that you thought. But I think, as I used to say and still do to my grandchildren, if you fall down, it's how you get back up, how you go forward. And I think this council showed that the process that we were using needed to be improved, needed to be enhanced. We have exceeded the engagement processes of many of our sister communities, and I think we heard loud and clear. I think we readjusted. The matter is solved. I appreciate the fellow candidate who said, let's get on with it. We did what we did, we resolved the way we did, let's move forward.
All right, it was a popular question. Connie Salmark will use her one challenge.
It's really important that we remember what we're holding each other to, and if anybody makes a mistake. I felt that this conference has become a little aggressive, and remember, we have to work together. And I like people that can talk and communicate. If we're going to spend a lot of time just pointing fingers and being nasty, That's a lot of time wasted when we could be moving forward. And I think it's really important that we get down and talk about the platform rather than keep trying to pin somebody down and make them embarrassed and ashamed. It's hard to be up here in front of all of you, our neighbors. I say to VG, I hope I don't make a mistake because I wouldn't want to run in that situation.
So again, I'm just jumping in and editing in here. It was funny how the press could go repeatedly at somebody when it was supposed to be the one rebuttal, but because I was setting it up so that to make my point is they put a Parks and Recs committee together, like they said, to monitor this process so that they would have to follow that before doing anything with the parks. But then sadly, once the first situation did come up, which was local landing, and don't get me wrong, I love local landing, and I think what they do there is fantastic for the kids, but they went and signed, I think it was a 29-year deal, and they avoided the Parks Committee and just moved forward to sign that lease. So they didn't, they got a process in place, but they didn't use it. So that's why I question that, you know, are you telling the truth right now? So yeah, that was my major concern, and I wanted to ask that question. So dig into it, find out, and again, like I think probably why they were with local landing, they were a little concerned that maybe the people that were against Skaha Park might have come forward, but I don't think that would have happened, you know, and that's again why the Skaha Park really needs to be addressed, because it really divided our community here, and it's still not completely mended. And in order to do that, the people that were in there need to go, because they didn't only avoid the process once, but they also did it again. They didn't listen to the people. They didn't follow their own bylaws, you know. So once you go past your bylaws once, then you're gonna do it again. So yeah, that's why I say it's time to drain City Hall, so that we don't have these backroom deals going on anymore. And again, I just want to say that I truly do love what local landing does and how fantastic it is for kids, but it's just sad that it didn't follow the process that they spoke of.
Back over and back to the media panel, and a long-awaited Doug Maxwell question.
Mr. Maxwell, what are your views on how tourism funds are spent in Penticton?
Excuse me, on how tourism money is spent?
Yes, how are they? What are your views on how tourism funds are spent in Penticton?
I think that the tourism industry should look after itself. I think the city should be involved in that whole bunch. We've got the mountains, the lakes, everything going for us here. I think we should be way more intent on developing our industrial area and full-time year-round jobs that pay a living wage instead of seasonal. I know there's a few jobs that in the tourist section that are year-round, but we need to concentrate more on these family jobs. So I think the tourism industry should look after itself.
One thing that comes to mind is that the channel was quite empty this year, which I believe for companies such as Coyote Cruises, that must have had an impact on their work as citizens of Penticton. So do you not want to bring improvement for people who work in the tourism industry and their jobs?
I think the media had a large part to do with that for the last 2 years. The media all over the province has been telling people that there's too much smoke, instead of the fires are burning right down to the Penticton border, etc., etc. And that wasn't true. We still have some pretty nice days in the summer. I know it's been smoky, but we shouldn't be turning tourists away the way the media does for us.
I believe there was a fire between Peachland and Summerland on Highway 97 this year, but I could be wrong.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Try that again?
I said I do believe there was a forest fire on Highway 97 between Summerland and Peachland this year.
Yes, it was there. And the traffic got stopped. The traffic got stopped for a day or so. But other than that, we had company in town. We had a great time. I had my boat on the lake. We carried on.
Thank you.
We carried on because the weather was nice and warm.
Thank you. We have a question for Christopher Mellon. Going to the table for a Christopher Mellon question.
Mr. Millen, are housing units for single men a solution for the problems facing our city?
Could you please repeat that?
Are housing units for single men a solution for the problems in our city?
Housing units for single men?
Yes. And women, you?
Single men and women, we, whatever, okay. Housing units are a solution to anybody in anything going on in our society. How we get about that is where we need to work towards. It's the thing that I've been dealing with, and I'm going to go back a little bit here, is when I moved up here 4 years ago, I have this back part of my cafe, and I've never, ever, for 2 years, we had no issues back there. Starting about 2 years ago, we started to see people sleeping back there. We started, and then regularly, and then it became quite a problem. And for the last 6 months, it's been to the point where we can barely deal with it. 2 of those people were elderly men who were waiting for homes, waiting for free homes. When they finally got free homes, housing units, when they got their homes, these men completely changed their lives. It was unbelievable. And they came back and they began to become customers of mine. And they wanted to just say to us that it was the thing that changed, that made them better, that got them started, that got them going again. And I just think it's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Isaac has a challenge. Okay, and then Julius.
Thank you. As a single man in the city. I think it is definitely a challenge for any individual to try and find housing in the city. In June, I was evicted from my apartment down at Skaha Lake Park. I think that was it wasn't a party here. I don't drink myself. It was a legitimate landlord decided moving into town and he needed an apartment for him to live in. So we were evicted, we were given 2 months notice. And to me, it was very difficult because I now ask the question, am I going to stay here in Penticton or am I not? Because the amount of rental units here in the middle of the summer is very hard because there seems to be sometimes a trend with having that you only have a rental unit from September to June and then it's for the vacationers. And I understand why that happens. What I'm really looking forward to, and luckily for me, I did find a place. It's a great place. I'm actually in the new Broadway properties at Duncan and Fairview, and I'm really glad that the city pushed those out there because it gave me housing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes of the official community plan and how they are going to address the housing. And as someone on council, definitely will work towards trying to get housing for individuals in the city.
Thank you. You want to take pass the mic down to Mr. Bloomfield? Thank you. That was Isaac Gilbert with his challenge of the evening. Mr. Julius Bloomfield has a challenge.
I'm assuming that the question is alluding to...
Go ahead.
I'm assuming the question is alluding to the homeless situation in the city. And... Thank you. So, last night we had some talk about the Medicine Hat project and the Housing First plan that they had in Medicine Hat. But Medicine Hat isn't the only city that's happened in. Regina, Saskatchewan has just implemented a similar program, and the Housing First program there has been an outstanding success for the people that it has benefited. They focused on 26 homeless people in that city, and that is a city with a chronic homeless problem. What they've found, and here are the numbers, is that to house somebody in safe housing costs in the region of $25,000 to $30,000 a year. For that person to be in the homeless state and in constant trouble and in that cycle of going into prison and through the court systems and policing, etc., the cost of keeping that person in that cycle is between $80,000 and $100,000 a year. Housing first works, but it only works if there's community support, if there's support from all of the services within the city working together, like they were with the Integrated Community Services when I was the president of the Downtown Penticton Association. That has now been revived. I hope it is successful, but it is a constant care situation, and it really works, folks.
Thank you. Well, I'm sorry, who wanted challenges? Okay, Marie Pryor and then Christopher. So pass the, I'm sorry, panel, we're down to one mic, and so we're going to be passing around. Okay, Marie Pryor.
Oh, Marie Pryor. So we hear a lot about thinking outside the box, and we do have a homeless problem here, we have a housing problem here, we have many other problems here. But you know what? Why can we not have carriage homes? Why can't we explore other options, stackable modular units or refitted cargo containers? But we still need the land. We need to remember we are not Vancouver, we are not a Kelowna, we are a small, fantastic little city, and we have to devise our plans and our housing according to that. So we need to not force large apartments over 4 stories down our throats in our community, such as happened on Kinney Avenue. And I believe council has a duty to listen to the voice of our residents. We have been ignored by city councils for too long.
Thank you, Ms. Pryor. Are you going to challenge that? Okay, just a second. We have a lineup here, so Christopher Edison is going to use his lone challenge, so.
Yeah, his question was for single adults living in Penticton, what is there for housing? Well, consider this, I'm 20 years old. A lot of young adults, they don't make a lot of money. I take home about $1,200 bi-weekly by working 50 hours a week. When rent, minimum rent, just to live alone, get a basic basement suite, 1 bedroom, when it starts at $900 to $1,000, how are young adults supposed to save money? How are young adults supposed to eventually buy a house here in the Okanagan? Why would any young adult really want to live here when rent is so high? Why would we not just move to Kamloops or Merritt or Prince George where we do have jobs and we do have low rent? Penticton's a desirable place to live, but you also got to consider that when under 15 years old, that population group is not growing. Who's going to fill in 20 years from now, 30 years from now? Who's going to take over the jobs when nobody's willing to move here because they can't afford to live here?
And David O'Brien, who's going to get the next question, is going to use his challenge to comment on this issue.
Thank you very much. You know, folks, this is a problem that many communities across Canada can't solve. Problems with drugs, problems with affordable housing, problems with homelessness. I keep hearing that we should have higher density, higher middle density housing. Yes, it does bring more housing units on the market, but are we looking forward? Where are all the cars going to go? Where are they going to park? We create another problem by having high towers, high density, high middle density. Where are the cars going to go? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, popular question. Duffy Baker is going to take a challenge.
I appreciate your question, and a lot of people that are saying what they're saying. We're not thinking of our city as a business. I believe this gentleman right here had it right, where Medicine Hat has implemented shelter first, and it has reduced their homelessness to almost zero. Like, it is working. And if we were to build high rises, or 4 stories, it's not a high rise, you have to remember that this city is Basically, the majority of it is 1% great. We're worried about more parking and more cars and where can we put cars. But like Isaac said, he bikes everywhere. We can bike everywhere too. Why are we so fixated on needing to drive when we have the transportation and the bicycle lanes that we should be implementing as well? Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to get back to questions just for the candidates. Karen, Glenn, Lynn, Christopher, Noam, and Frank. We do have one challenge left, but we still have lots of time to use it, so we'll go to a David O'Brien question.
Mr. O'Brien, the last question was, what's your platform? And you said this isn't the time or the place to reveal it, and then you sort of said you'll take cues from people on what it should be. How is that going to inspire people? Generally, leaders get elected on a platform, they say, this is what I'm going to do for you. How are you going to inspire people if you're not going to give them ideas, if you're looking for ideas?
Thank you for saying that. I don't believe that's exactly what I said, sir.
Here's your chance to clarify.
This, and I will. All right, one moment, please. What I hear is people saying, look, we have problems with security, we have problems with homelessness, we have problems with parking downtown. We have a lot here to deal with in this town, and I think we need a strong group of counselors to work as a team, to work as a community, to come up with these answers. You're asking me to hold here and tell you all my ideas. I want to hear your ideas. I have mine. I will put them in the paper. I will welcome you to discuss it with me. I just feel that this far out in front of the election, my message is going to get lost amongst 24 other messages being put out there. Some of these people try to put out their platforms tonight. It's a lot for you all to take in. Give me the opportunity, I'll make it very clear on what I feel the people in Penticton are telling me, what I think we can do to improve some of these issues and challenges that we're facing with. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We are now going to have a question for Max Penticton.
Mr. Penticton, last summer, your company was awarded a contract to pick up sandbags. And just to be very clear, the city did get legal opinion and was very open about it, that there was nothing wrong with you bidding on it. However, it did make some people uncomfortable, and the optics, you have to admit, were bad. But when I asked you about it, you said, I owed it to my company to bid on this contract with the capability to do it, and ultimately you were the successful bidder. But it's led some people to wonder, where do your allegiances lie? Do they lie, are you allegiant to lie to your business or taxpayers?
I don't think that those two things are exclusive of each other. I can be both for my business and for the taxpayers of this community. It is my responsibility to run my business as it should be run. And if that's bidding contracts that we're capable of doing, then that's my mandate as a partner in that business. It has zero effect on my responsibilities to the taxpayer. Council is completely removed from the decisions on who is awarded these tenders. This one never even any of these tenders don't even come to our desk. We don't have the opportunity to see these tenders. So really, I don't understand how bidding a job could affect my ability to govern the city.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to a question from Marie Pryor now.
Ms. Pryor, in your opening statement, you talked about lobbying the provincial government for things. How would you ensure that Penticton's voice is heard over the other 100 or so municipalities in BC that are also clamoring for funds?
So lobbying for homeless? What did I do again?
You were general in your opening statement. You said you would lobby the government for this, that, and the next thing. What I'm asking is, how would you ensure Penticton's voice is heard over every other municipality that's lobbying for the same things?
Constant writing, pushing, providing petitions, being at the UBCM meetings, lobbying there. Like, there was just a meeting and we had no idea what went on. Unless somebody else does. I haven't heard anything that's been brought back from that meeting that can show us where they're heading in the future. So, yeah, we just need to push more and be solid in what it is we want. And that needs cooperation from council right here at this level, and it needs cooperation moving forward to the city, to BC, to whatever we can get for us. Other municipalities are very much more forward than we are and demand a great deal more than we do. So we need to step up and make more challenges for us to get what we want. First of all, what do we want? And we want safety in the city. We want, I think everybody here has been challenged by having thefts and what do we need to do to get the changes done with the RCMP, for instance? Alternatives, we just need to have more done for us. So I have more to say on housing and seniors and RDOS. Do you want me to go on?
No, thanks.
We have a 60-second time. Thank you for the answer. All right, we're going to move over to Kevin Proteau, and Joe has a question.
Mr. Proteau, a few months back in council there was discussion about perhaps increasing use of surveillance cameras downtown to deter or prevent crime, that sort of thing. You came up quite strongly against that. If not surveillance cameras, what other ideas do you have to reduce crime?
Well, I mean, we have Penticton security downtown. They threw $350,000 at the RCMP, and we don't see you don't see them out there as much as they should be. They're not doing their jobs. It's almost like it's almost intentional. So in order to put in these surveillance cameras, and it's the same thing that's happening not only here, but right across Canada. I noticed the same thing, the same trend. The crimes are going up, and the common response from the RCMP is that our hands are tied. And a common thing I've been hearing in our community here from residents and from businesses here is that maybe we need to start looking at maybe ending our contract with the RCMP and starting our own regional police force. And that's something we could probably potentially look at. I'm not into a big brother state, though. I don't need cameras everywhere. I got one brother, he's in Montreal. But thanks.
Thank you. Frank Rieger question, and Steve Arstad will have it from Intelligence.
Mr. Rieger, do you believe there is a locally based or city-based solution to crime and or homelessness? Or is that beyond city's control?
Well, to begin with, I know the official crime rate in Penticton is exceedingly high. I think there's Maclean's magazine article that was written not that long ago and well reported that we're the 16th worst crime rate in Canada out of 272 municipalities. So that's a pretty bad number. And I know there was some disagreement between the mayor and I think the police chief over whether that was a fair representation, but regardless, it's a high rate. I think a knee-jerk reaction is let's hire more police. But I think since I've put my name in to run for council, I think I've become aware that it's more complicated than that. And I think generally talking mental health, homelessness, and using the bad pills and the like is where the majority of the problem is. And I think we need to work with agencies that are working towards that. I think we need to also pay attention with the police for protection of the community. But it's probably going to be a fairly slow process. And hopefully we can keep the city as safe as possible during that time. As I say, 16th worst in the country is not where we want to be. Vernon was a slightly worse rate than us, but as I said, not where we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie, you've already used your challenge tonight, so you're only allowed one. Katie Robinson question from Melanie Axel.
Ms. Robinson, we've already heard one opinion on tourism in Penticton. I'm just curious about your opinion on tourism in Penticton and whether or not you believe it's important. And if so, how do you plan on maintaining tourism in Penticton throughout the off seasons?
Thank you for the question. I've been a strong advocate of promoting tourism in this town, not just
just the general tourism, but also sports tourism. We have the wine industry. My long-term vision for Penticton would be to make Penticton the center, or the Canadian center for wine, food, and the arts. I think we're already halfway there, sometimes in spite of ourselves. I don't see us ever as a big box community, big box stores. We're unique, and that's what we're best at. So I think that's the direction we have to go in. I would like to see more cross-marketing going on between, for instance, the sports tourism and the arts, for instance. Somebody that is going to a hockey game, another member of their family might like to see a play, or might like to go see musicians at the Dream Cafe, or to any one of our available tourist groups. But I have been a very strong supporter and come up with many ideas for the shoulder seasons to promote tourism here with Festivale and all the other ones that I've already mentioned. And I think we can keep building on that. We're very well known for our festivals, our sports tourism, and I think that's a really strong base to go on. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to the meeting now, we have a question for Connie Stallmark. Oh, I'm sorry, we have a challenge on the floor. I apologize, I didn't see it at the end. Okay, thank you for ours in the front row. We have a challenge from Christopher Mellon. Go ahead.
We can't deny that things are changing. The last 2 years have proved that to us, especially us who used to benefit from the tourism industry. I have seen the last 2 summers with the excessive smoke and the flooding and whatnot, that where once our business was, we based most of our year around June, July, and August. Now we barely do as much as we do in November or December. And I think part of the problem we've had over the last couple of years is, it was mentioned here, is media. The media has been very unkind to us through the summers. And I feel like this is a trend that's going to continue if we don't start investing some money into our own media going out. We need to promote the fact that this town is not underwater and it's not on fire. And then we also need to start promoting and having events throughout the rest of the year that draw people from the Okanagan and draw people from places that can come get here. We need to get with the times, and I think the times, they are changing here, so thank you.
Thank you. We have no other challenges, so over here, and we have a Connie Stallmark question.
Ms. Stallmark, you didn't seem too receptive on my question about the arrest before that I was mentioning, but I want to take this opportunity to speak about your own arrest, and I say with respect that I believe it speaks to your character. On March 24th, you were arrested in Burnaby for protesting the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Do you regret these actions?
I believe in my values, and we are at a time in our history right now to not dilly-dally. We have to speak what I truly believe, and it matters that much to me, so I voted with my feet. I don't know if you know, but all my charges were dropped because I wasn't the target type of criminal they were looking to prosecute. But I really hope that you'll understand I act on my values. With this town, we're still focusing so much on the crime right now that we're not listening to the integrated approach we need to take. We have partnerships waiting to go with us from Interior Health Authority for our journey homes, safe routes to school, the healthy housing. We have such opportunity right now to not just address our housing, but our active transit corridors for our healthy communities. This is about our whole community, not a small segment. This is a beautiful place to live, and let's bring back the quality of life. I mean, I don't know how you felt when you read those 2 seniors who committed suicide because they couldn't find affordable housing. But I was just sick. This has been Penticton, not a third world country. We have the potential, we have the people, we have the resources. We just have to have the priorities and the boldness to go forward with it.
in council that causes you the most regret? Or is there one?
What question?
What decision have you made in council that causes you most to regret?
Caused you the most to regret?
That's really very difficult. Like you've heard from so many tonight, when I vote having gotten as much information as I could, employed as many resources as I could, and I vote with my conscience, in addition to what the best thing for the community is. And sometimes you have to take a very high level of what is best for the community. I can't honestly say that there's anything that I would regret. I think everything that has happened in these last 4 years is a foundation on which we can grow and go forward. And I really advocate of us going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a Campbell Watt question.
Mr. Watt, my question to you is similar. In your opening remarks, you mentioned that you were on the right side of the vote regarding the park issue and benefits. So I was just wondering if there was any decision made with the council in the last 4 years that you might have taken back and done it again.
As I mentioned, truth be told, yes. I have owned this and lived with it. I was a young, fresh councillor, and I voted initially for Scott Park, and I do regret it. I voiced that regret. I'm happy I voiced it. I have said all along to some of the people sitting here, as I felt then, that the one thing I've learned is when you make a decision, you stand by it. Don't feel bad to say when you're wrong. And when I can go home and talk to my wife and daughter and sleep at night because I made the right decision, I'm okay with whatever I decided.
No challenges on the floor before I come down the table. We're going to do our final snapper question tonight. Again, it is a yes or no, and I think everybody will agree that there's not really a gray area, but an issue which dominated the news cycle for about 3 months with all the outlets, not just ours, was panhandler Paul Braun, who we all know hangs outside the bookstore. He received multiple tickets, warnings, that sort of thing, and the city said, city bylaws said enough already, and they didn't take action, and he went to court, was given a minor fine. He's not allowed to hang out in the 200 block anymore, but the total bill to a Victoria law firm was about $30,000. So, do you agree with the actions that were taken against panhandler Paul Braun? Yes or no? Who agreed with what had happened? Please put your hands up. So we have Evison, Maxwell, Penticton, Sentes, and Watt. Those who disagreed with the way that it was handled. Raise your hands, please, for the benefit of the audience. Archer, Baker, Bloomfield, Brownlee, Glenn Clark, Darrell Clark, Froglidge, Gilbert, Kelsey, Kimberly, Martin, Salmark, Robinson, Rieger, Proteau, Pryor, O'Brien, Milne. Thank you very much for answering. We're going to go to a John Archer question. Oh, you want a challenge? Okay, Karen Brownlee will take her one challenge of the evening to respond to this. 60 seconds.
Thank you. We've all have you heard, did you know? No, really? When I hear that, I like to go to the source. I always ask, where did you hear that from? Who did you hear that from? So I went to the source, I went to the city, and I personally spoke with Judy Sentes. And she says, we offered him a job, he declined. We offered him housing, he declined. We have rules and regulations and bylaws in this city for a reason. They apply to me, they apply to the homeless. That's why they're in place. So we have structure, we have boundaries. So I give the city great kudos on at least making an effort. Some things, as they did, got out of control, but I wanted to say on behalf of the city, the current city council, they did try. From what James was saying, it appeared they did it, but they didn't. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to a John Archer question in the media table.
Mr. Archer, I think we can all agree Penticton is a terrific place to live, yet you choose to make your home in Colleton. Why is that?
No, I lived in Colleton from 1999 to 2016. I am presently living and have lived on Penticton Avenue for the last year and a half, and prior to that I was 6 months on Wilson Street. I am a full-time, multiple property taxpayer in the city of Penticton and have been so for 2 years.
I'm going to go to my haircut question. Seeing as there's some bad information there. Another candidate suggested we need a balanced council. Your view, what does a balanced council look like?
I think a balanced council is a variety of people who have come from various backgrounds and who have had some experience in the past with dealing with boards, associations, community involvement, and to some extent civic politics, sports, cultures, cultural activities, and just general interest in the community. I think people can talk about their platform, but I also think they should talk about the issues that concern them as a result of things that are going on in our community and how they can support that. So if they can draw on their experiences and show us from such, the balanced approach that they can bring forward to council, then I think that, all those people together combined can make a balanced council.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Archer, we apologize for that. Press stories that I bring you were Toledo, so that question was brought to you by Dan Ashton, so we do apologize for that. Okay, those people over there got my joke, okay. All right, it's time for a Duffy Baker question. Thanks, Fred.
Mr. Baker, in your opening, you talked about being a kind of entrepreneur and having 16 people working for you, so it sounds like you're doing well. What is there to improve upon in terms of, say, building permits and those sorts of things, construction-wise for the city?
Well, I believe that the city is actually doing a pretty good job with bringing in more people to actually implement a better plan structure and being able to actually know or see who's actually capable of doing builds. So I feel that the city is actually doing a good job in their building departments and handing out permits, and the council themselves have been, doing their job to actually be a part of the conversations with variances and permits as well. So,
do you see any room for improvement at all?
Oh, there's always room for improvement.
Like what?
It depends on what you want to improve itself, like just getting a building permit, or the building envelope, or like the step program that they're starting to implement. Are you talking about like making sure that homes are more energy efficient so that they need to actually implement?
How about we just say speeding up getting a building permit?
Speeding up and getting a building permit?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty hard when you have so many places that are starting to really build right now. Infrastructure is going on in this city, which is creating a lot more jobs, a lot less people have to leave town, and actually keep the money back in this town. So, to speed up the process, you can hire more people, but it is what it is at this moment. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you for the answer. So this is Bloomfield question, and it's Joe again.
Mr. Bloomfield, for my sake, I hope you haven't moved recently. But you're a well-known Parramatta resident.
I have not.
Okay, good. You're a well-known Parramatta resident. How come you choose to live there, not Penticton?
Well, I picked up a property in Parramatta where I built a straw bale house. I'm not sure I've ever built that in the city. And off-grid, and I've got a bunch of horses. So my lifestyle means that I live in the country. That part of the country happens to be Parramatta. I work in Penticton. I come into Penticton every day to work. I spend most of my money in Penticton. I'm involved in the business community in Penticton. I've volunteered in Penticton. My heart is in Penticton. I moved here 30 years ago from Britain. I thought I was going to travel the world. When I got here, I said, oh, that's good enough. And I never moved again. So don't think that I don't have Penticton's best interests at heart, because they are. Thank you.
And we'll go to a Karen Brownlee question.
Ms. Brownlee, there's only 6 women running for council. Why do you believe it's like this?
Why?
Yes.
I have no idea why. That's a good question. I don't have the answer to.
Do you like to see more women running for council?
More better balanced, you know. Then you've got that men are different than women for sure, and we do bring to the table a certain level of our femaleness to the maleness. So it's a good counterbalance. Why they don't, I don't know. It's a big responsibility, and probably having children plays a big part.
What advice would you offer to any young women or older women as well, any woman in general that's looking to run for council or politics in general?
Do your homework. I spent 3 years researching the homeless, the addicts. I spoke to counselors, went to the group homes, spoke to the counselors in a group forum for 3 years, spoke to the police, spoke to the people, was on the street for 3 years, because I knew then that I wanted to run for city council and help our city get better balanced and become healthy again. So doing the research for sure.
Okay, last night down, Lynn Kelsey is going to take her one challenge. Just like we have a challenge on the floor.
Could have probably done it without the mic, but Kyle, I need to keep you employed. So, women in politics has been something that I've been very, very focused on for many, many years at many levels. I've taken a lot of training on being a woman in politics, whether that be provincial, federal, or municipal. I was very involved with the school board in Surrey, so much so that they partied when I left town. I believe that if you as a woman, and I don't care what age, if you as a woman are interested in what's happening in your city, and you have a desire to be here, you should do it. You can do it, get involved. I've gone to all the city council meetings, I've been on city committees. There's ways to get yourself involved that don't mean you just jump in at the deep end and put your name on the slate. You can work your way up through different areas. Do it. We need women at the council table. We need women in politics at all levels, so please, if you're interested in doing it, do it. Come and talk to me and I'll help.
Thank you, Ms. Kelsey. And we have a five-part question. We have 4 questions left in the evening, so remember, 2 of you still have challenges if you wish to use with Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark, is the recent shift in business from nightclubs to breweries and urban wineries good for tourism in Penticton? You had mentioned you're an athlete yourself, so what about sports and arts in the community for tourism?
Sports and arts together?
Or separate together?
Well, from my experience, like when we brought the Ironman in, those people really weren't that interested in sports and culture. It's a whole different group. But the wine industry, that's a nice tie-in for more art galleries and performing arts centers and the like.
I think our question was about microbreweries.
Microbreweries? Microbreweries are great. How quickly to take Penticton and become the beer capital of Canada. There's 1 or 2 breweries. No, fully support the breweries. I think it's a great add-on to what we're doing.
Do you think it's a good shift from things like nightclubs?
Of course.
Why do you believe so?
Pardon me?
Why do you believe so?
Well, the nightclubs, the last time I was downtown at a nightclub, I left, I was scared to be on the street, to be honest. It's mayhem out there, 2 o'clock. Our cops have a hard time out there.
Thank
Mayhem.
Okay, thank you. We have a Darrell Clark question.
Mr. Clark, what ideas do you have for making the streets of Penticton safer?
We started on a path already, or the city has already started on a path where they're brightening some areas up. They put $350,000 in over the summer, which this problem didn't start overnight, and it's not going to be solved overnight. We put a drop in the bucket to start things, but what's going to make our streets safer at night is more help for the people with mental health addictions. It's going to be more help, more housing for people that are at risk. It's going to be more bylaw officers, and the city's done a good job with that. Our bylaw officers are going into places at night now. They're not a 9 to 5 anymore. It used to be the citizens of this town that parked their cars after hours because they knew there was no bylaw. Well, now there's bylaw, and now they're addressing it. And like I said, this problem didn't happen overnight, and it needs to continue with education, enforcement, and treatment. You need all of those pieces in place in order to help the homeless problem, in order to help the drug problems, and in order to help some of the societal problems that we have. Because it's not just a Penticton problem. It's a bigger issue in the world than it is just here. All of our towns and all of our cities are running into the same problem with people that can't afford housing, people that need addiction help. And if we can't help the people that are addicted and things like that to get off the street, then we're not going to solve the bottom level problem. We need to help those that can, and we need to get the courts to be tougher. We need to lobby the province and the federal government in order to get the help that we need in Penticton and get the people the help that they need.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. All right, we're going to go over to Christopher Evans' question.
Mr. Evison, as a 20-year-old candidate, what do you see as the single biggest issue in Penticton in this election?
So was that question directed towards young adults in Penticton or just in Penticton in general?
Well, from your perspective as a young adult.
As a young adult, definitely one of the biggest challenges for myself living in Penticton is, of course, the housing. Another thing is there's not a lot of well-known activities for young adults to do. The mule just shut down. What are we going to do at 2 a.m. after we finish up the pair? Seriously, it's a legitimate concern. When everybody is drunk, everybody goes to the elite, they all go to Clancy's. That's where they start at 8, 9 a.m. They all migrate over to race the parrot. They have fun there. The parrot closes down. Everybody used to then move over to the mule. They close. Around 2 a.m. they head over to Jeffrey's Fries, they get their poutine, and then they go home. What are they going to do after the parrot? That's another serious issue that we have to consider because the police are becoming involved. When you have hundreds, thousands of young people and tourists that are drunk at midnight, what are they going to do? That's a pretty big topic coming up.
Christopher's answer was brought to you by David Christie. It's late, I'm trying to be a comedian here. Joe Frockledge has a question.
Mr. Frockledge, where do you see the Performing Arts Center as a priority in the city?
Well, it's a lot. Can you repeat that again, sorry?
Where do you see building a Performing Arts Center as a city priority on its list of city priorities?
We need it, but it's not a big priority right now. We have other priorities right now that need to be looked after. There are so many things that, that we've got to look at here. And, our mobility issues, our housing, our youth, it's a big one for me. Having ambassadors from school and them coming in to city council, say, once a month. I think that's a great idea. Let's hear the young voices. And accountability, all right? We go on about the performing arts and this and that, but it's not a number one thing right now, I think. Matter of fact, I know it's not. We need to have accountability here. That's exactly what we need. I get voted in. I want the people to turn around and make me accountable. Plain and simple. The mayor, the rest of the council, myself, all bit. Too many things going on behind doors that were closed. Decision making. And no, we need a whole council. We're going to start over again. And let's do it right this time. And we can. I love Penticton. I love everybody in Penticton. That's why I moved here. But there's other issues right now besides the gallon. Okay? That's my opinion. Please vote for me when it comes October 20th.
Thank you.
I'll be your voice.
Thank you. Now, that was our final question of the evening. Frank and Glenn, you haven't used your challenges. Do you want to comment on the Performing Arts Center, or do you want to pass? Glenn is going to take the challenge. Okay. All right.
And actually, I wanted to give my challenge to Proteau earlier today for the roll there, but I'll take this opportunity. There's always a short, middle, and long term what we always look at, right? And it's like Jake said, it's like if we didn't build the event center, it would never get built. It always seems that way, that we're chasing this thing that's always rolling down the road. The fact is, we need that for a lot of reasons, you know. For opportunities for everybody, our kids. I do after-school programs for kids at the art gallery for free, and it's important for them. It's a big part of their day. But again, we want better-paying jobs, so we don't have to live in these little hovels that are $400,000. We need to have industry, and we need to have attractions. So that's the reason we need an event center. Performing Arts Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn Carr. And Frank Rieger has a challenge. There wasn't a cash bonus if you didn't use your challenge. So, see this last question tonight. Performing Arts Center.
I'll try and work this around the Performing Arts Center. At the Fine Arts and Culture session last week that all candidates attended, one of the things they were asking is what we had as interest towards fine arts and the development of the future of fine arts. And I think it actually does tie very nicely into the Performing Arts Center. And that is, I've certainly come to the conclusion from work I did there that Penticton is not really treating the culture and fine arts community on a fair basis. I think with some more support, some more funding, I think the fine arts community can grow. I kind of agree. I don't think we're probably quite at this point ready for a fine arts center. But I think if the community had more support, and I think if more people involved and more performances, more artistic and culture events were held, I think it would work into a community that was able to support and really make thrive a Performing Arts Center. So, how's that?
Thank you. All right, it's time for our wind down. The Penticton Herald, your daily newspaper in South Okanagan for 110 years. Thank you to my boss, our media panel, Melanie Exel, Joe Fries, and Steve Armstead from Infotel News. If you don't have Infotel.ca as one of your favorites, please add it to your list of favorites because he writes some dynamite stuff, and we're proud to know. Peach City Radio, Craig Henderson, one of the nicest guys in Okanagan. And their color commentator tonight, one of our many former mayors, the 5 mayors, Mr. David Perry. Thank you for coming to Peach City Radio. If you missed it or friends missed it, www.peachcityradio.org. It will be up, if not tomorrow, within the next day. Kyle Anderson was our sound man. Thank you, Kyle. And our timers were Shannon Hubbard and Edward Kennedy from the Penticton Herald. Thank you both for them. Our candidates are around. I see all the mayoral candidates are here tonight. The Herald is going to be asking questions in writing. So candidates, if you don't get an email from me by Sunday at 6 o'clock, please email me because again, probably in your spam folder. And we're going to do one more tell you what it is, but closer to the election, so please keep looking at our website, www.dickmerrill.ca. Read the paper, because it's going to be a good event. It's going to educate everyone on the candidates. Finally, I'd like to thank these 23 people. We've tried to ask hard questions. They gave great answers. And just to show my generosity for all of you, and I appreciate every one of you, I'm going to buy round currents for everyone at the Mule. But anyways, they're going to be here. Thank you so much, and thank you to the audience. 2 hours and 45